Somebody does not murder Charlie Kirk because they voted for Kamala Harris. People do not stab young girls on trains because they're born black. People do not shoot Palestinians in the back of the head or cheer it on just because they're Jewish. The people that do this are lost. They have to be isolated and segregated out. A new consensus must emerge. Are you in favor of a society with meaning? A society where life is sacred, where life has sanctity, where people's lives, their dignity, and their integrity is respected? Or are we going to live in a society that is a never-ending war between nihilistic tribes, warlords, savages, patients? We see an emerging consensus, and I think that surely people that really love America, really love our children, the people that recognize the vision that Carol that was in, we need to fortify a consensus and rally people of confidence. The people of decency, the people of humanity, the people of charity, towards their fellow man, against those that want to kill us, against those that laugh and celebrate with innocent people are harmed. For any reason, for any ideological reason, against people that are cruel, the people that are hateful. And by that I mean the people that are really cruel, not the people that say things you disagree with, not the people that are provocative, not the people that are sometimes angry, but the people that are really cruel, really evil. What makes Christianity and Christ so different from the other religions is that our religion is based on the bearing of suffering for the sake of even those that persecute us.
I'm Johnny on the spot.
An overflowing of love, an overflowing of self-giving love, so much that it cannot be contained.
Okay, I got stuff to do.
An unconditional, absolute standard of love for all of God's children, even those that are misguided, even those that persecute us, even the most heinous among us. That is what makes us different. That is what makes us different.
Your immediate assistance is required to recover footage that can undermine the LSPD's highest ranking officers. It would be devastating if it found its way into the public eye. Are you available? Copy that. Stand down.
Everything in here has been personally tested by yours truly. Enjoy, my friend.
The Canary's mission is an Israeli-funded blacklist, which since July 2025 has been confirmed to be used by the Trump administration to target students, professors, and professionals who oppose Israel and reside in the United States. This idea is part of an initiative created by the Heritage Foundation, the same group responsible for the infamous Project 2025. In their initiative, titled Project Esther, they state that students participating in pro-Palestinian protests and activism are supporting Hamas, a group that the United States designates as a foreign terrorist organization. Therefore, pro-Palestinian students are considered to be supporting terrorism and are subject to the revocation of visas, frozen bank accounts, asset seizures, and the denial of basic constitutional rights. In effect, the Canary mission serves as a means to circumvent constitutional protections, allowing the federal government to engage in intelligence gathering activities that would otherwise be considered unlawful. But the Canary mission is not alone. Palantir, another company closely aligned with the State of Israel, uses AI-driven analytics to maintain private databases on U.S. citizens and currently works with 4 federal agencies. While government contracting with the private sector is longstanding, the prominent influence of Jewish groups within these increasingly powerful organizations warrants careful examination.
I renew the call for all able-bodied young American men, all of our elite human capital, all of our geniuses, warriors, intelligent people to dedicate themselves to American sovereignty and independence as Christians, as Americans, as white people, as citizens of the United States. And anybody that settles for anything less is just as much of an enemy. I would actually consider them worse than our oppressors. So on Independence Day, it's important to reflect on the fact that we are an occupied nation. Now, just like then, we're being ruled by a small country across an ocean, serving itself at our expense. And as long as that is the case, I will always be obsessed with that. As long as that is the case, I will always be speaking out against that and fighting against that. And I will always be anchored, understanding that that is the fundamental struggle. As long as our presidents have to kiss the wall in Israel and they're a small act, as long as they have to say that we want to make Israel great again and they're the greatest country ever, I will never be okay with that. Ever. And it doesn't matter what they offer me or us. It doesn't matter how they might try to placate us, reduce our interests, the concessions they'll make. As long as that is the case, it is unacceptable. And that's what it means to be American. How did we get here? This is not a timeline going back to 1948. What had just happened before the 2016 election? Barack Obama created the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA, or the Iranian nuclear deal. And Barack Obama brought together China, Russia, Germany, France, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and the European Union to enforce a nuclear deal that restricts Iran's enrichment of uranium. The early talks were conducted in secret, and the Israelis were furious about this. They hated Obama. Netanyahu went to a joint session of Congress and gave a speech in defiance of the American president and its nuclear deal, and Congress gave 37 standing ovations. This is the background of Trump's first election. 2016 election happens. Trump gets elected with the help of the Israelis. You don't believe me? There's a whole article about it. It's an excerpt from James Bamford's book, Spy Fail. It goes into great detail about the hidden collusion in the 2016 election. It wasn't Trump and Russia. It was Trump and Israel. And why was Israel so hell-bent on getting a Republican elected in 16? To scuttle the Iranian nuclear deal. And that's exactly what happened. That was the ask.
The United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
In 2018, Donald Trump declares the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard, which is the military of the regime, a terrorist group, green lights that group for sanctions, for attacks. Now the United States is in a shadow war with Iran. It culminates by January 2020 in the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani was the architect of the axis of resistance. Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, Soleimani built all of it. Are you starting to see? Obama had this solved. He made the deal. The Israelis hated him for it. They colluded with Trump to get him elected so that Trump would do maximum pressure and create a ladder of escalation, pulling us out of the deal, declaring the IRGC terrorists, then killing its leader, putting sanctions on the regime. This is a war that started a long time ago, that Trump made hot in 2018, and has been going on for 7 years. That's the nature of forever wars. Just like in Iraq, which went from 1990 until today, just like Libya, which went from 2011 to today. Syria, which went from 2011 to today, and Iran, which went from 2018 until today. That's the nature of forever wars. And if you're not paying attention to those underlying forces, you're going to fall for it again and again. You're going to be surprised and confused and coping over and over. And people are just tripping over themselves to do it again.
It's going to be America first. America first. The American people will come first once again.
Good evening, everybody. You're watching America First. My name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. We have a great show for you tonight. Very excited to be back here with you tonight on Thursday. We have a lot to talk about tonight, lots to get into. Big show. Our featured story tonight, we're talking once again about the imminent war in Iran. And we're going to be doing it every night. Every night we're going to talk a little bit about this war because the countdown has started. Today, President Trump unofficially announced a 10-day countdown to war. And we know that something's coming. Something's up. You got 2 aircraft carriers. You got over a dozen missile destroyers. You got THAAD systems, Patriot missile batteries, Minuteman missiles. You got Growlers, F-22s, F-35s. It's all there. Locked and loaded, and there's going to be something. We don't know what that is yet, and we don't know what it is designed to achieve. But the announcement came today during a press conference at the first meeting of the Gaza Board for Peace that Trump is going to give Iran 10 days and said that he will make his decision within that time whether or not to go to war. There was also an exclusive piece in the Wall Street Journal that gives us some insight into his thinking. We talked all about this last night, what the strike is going to be and what the goal of the strike will be. I gave you some speculation, and now we have some more information about this. Today there is an exclusive piece in the Journal talking about where Trump is at and what they say. The unnamed anonymous officials in the White House have said that Trump is considering an initial strike, which will be minimal, and will be in an attempt to compel Iran to surrender. If they do not surrender after that, then there will be a weeks-long assault meant to topple the government. That is according to these anonymous officials in the White House. I'm not buying that. I don't know if I believe that. And that, to me, sounds like a fake out. And that's my gut. I'll tell you some of my reasoning behind that. There's really no way to know. Only Trump knows, only his team knows exactly what he's going to do. But I don't think that's right, and I don't think that's correct. That is a planted story. And something you need to consider about every story coming out now about this is that they are all planted, okay? And I see this all the time. People are trying to parse and make predictions based on flight radar, and they're tracking the movement of the military, and people try to make predictions based on the headlines, and they talk about what is being reported by Barak Ravid and Axios, and they talk about the latest anonymous source in the Post, in the Journal, in the Times. What you have to understand is that when you are in, as we are right now, the build up to a war, all of these things are being watched by everybody. So whether the United States tells its citizens to leave Iran immediately, that is going to be seen by Iran. And whether Israel is on their highest level of alert, that will be seen by Iran also. Whether the Wall Street Journal reports that Trump is considering a specific course of action, that will be seen by Iran as well. So, can we read those at face value and say that they are a pure telegraph of the intentions of the administration or the plans of the administration? No. They're signals. Signals that are being deliberately sent out at time of war, possibly to confuse, to mislead, or maybe they're real. But that is the purpose of them, and so we have to read them accordingly. That's always the mistake that I see people make. They take everything at face value, and you can't. You cannot do that, especially when it's coming in the press. So we'll talk all about that. We'll talk about this new piece and why I don't think that's likely. We're also going to talk tonight about this Religious Liberty Board. I have a super chatter. She's actually a friend of the show. I kind of bit her head off last night, and I feel very bad about it. I'm very sorry. A friend of the show, Beth Marie, she wrote a book about me. She's been asking me to cover this story all week, and I didn't really see too much about it, haven't read too much into it, but I think it's actually an important story, and I'm going to cover it tonight. If you've been watching the show the past couple days, you know what I'm talking about. There was a huge story this week about this Catholic woman. She was appointed to the Federal Religious Liberty Commission by President Trump, and she was recently publicly removed from the board because she said she wasn't a Zionist. And there's something very ironic about this, isn't it? Or maybe I should say, isn't there? She's appointed to the Religious Liberty Commission. The goal of the commission is to talk about religious liberty. Whether we have it, how do we expand it? Do we have the freedom to practice religion in America? A Catholic woman is on the commission. In this contentious Q&A session, she says, as a Catholic, I'm not a Zionist, and I don't support Israel. She gets terminated from the board. So now the Religious Liberty Commission doesn't have any religious liberty. We're trying to figure out, is there religious liberty in America? Well, I think we just found our answer. The answer is no. You are not allowed to not be a party to this other religion that we have in our country. And I think everybody knows the religion I'm talking about. It's the religion where we all have to bow down and worship Jews. We all have to worship Jews. We all have to worship Israel. Isn't that the religion? Because those are the only people you can't criticize. And that's the only sacrilege. And that is something which literally has theological tenets that we all must accept. 6 million, closest ally, Judeo-Christian. These are all things that they're practically a religious dogma that we have to accept. And as you know, if anybody opts out for any reason, in any way, whether they are being professional or crude, whether they have a rational reason or it's prejudice, it doesn't even matter. If you don't observe this religion, you are ostracized from public life. You're banned from the club. You're banned from social media. You get kicked off the board. You're unemployable. Everybody knows it. And I'll be the first one to say I am a Catholic. I am not a part of that religion. Holocaustianity, religious Zionism, that's not my religion. My religion is Catholicism. I'm a Catholic. My God is Jesus Christ, not these rabbinical Talmudic Jews. And I believe in the Catholic Church, not the Jewish state of Israel. That's my religion. Am I free to practice that in the 21st century in the United States? I don't think so, not anymore.
Damn.
So we'll talk a little bit about that too. Credit to this woman. God bless her. And I see she's been making the rounds. She was on Drop Site, Young Turks. She's been on a few different shows. So we'll talk a little bit about her story. It's very interesting. And it just goes to show. So many people came out to support Trump. All different walks of life. She happens to be a model. She happens to be a famous person and a Catholic. I don't know the rest of her political views. But all kinds of people came out to support Trump in 2016 because they're America First, because they're MAGA. People support that program. We're tired of the corruption. We're tired of the special interests. We're tired of the immigration. We're tired of wars. And Trump has basically made it his mission to alienate all of those people. The only people that he cares about, the only people this administration serves, is the donors. It's the grandest, most sickening irony of it all, isn't it? Forgotten men and women are forgotten. Catholics, whites, conservatives, patriots, forgotten. And the outsider has become the ultimate insider. The guy that was supposed to burn it all down is now like a Pied Piper leading everybody right back into the slaughterhouse. And the guy that was supposed to resist and fight the super PACs and the special interests and the banks and the donors, now they are his boss. Now they run him. They run the show. And I don't know at this point how you cannot be alienated by this administration. I mean, what are we actually even getting from it? We're not even getting the basics anymore. So we'll talk about that. It's going to be a good show. Before we get into it, I want to remind you to smash the follow button on Rumble, smash the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think about the show. Check out our merch store, Fuentes.store. We have our hats. Reuther Intelligence Agency, America First in camo. We have it in black. As seen on Ross Creations, prank channel. Fuentes.store, we got t-shirts, hoodies, quarter zips. It's all there. If you want to support the show, subscribe at AmericaFirst.plus. Become a plus subscriber at AmericaFirst.plus. $15 a month. Get access to the entire archive. The website is really good. We're launching a new version of it, and the UI is excellent. You get an MP3 version of the show. You get everything I've ever done. Every speech, debate, interview, gaming stream, commentary stream. It's like thousands of hours of content. It's all there, searchable, easy to access. $100 a month, you get to be in a group chat with me and talk to me. Yeah, we just get to hang out and talk. And some of you guys use it and some of you abuse it. I'm in the group chat, I'm like, hey, what's up? And everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's Nick. And it's like, hey, we could just talk also. You're paying $100. But it's a lot of fun. I do voice content in there. I'm basically doing like a whole other show in there. Check it out, America First. It's so funny. People say, how do I get in the group chat? AmericaFirst.plus. That's the link. I literally get people emailing me and DMing me, say, how do I get in that group chat? I don't think I've ever talked about the group chat without saying the link. It's AmericaFirst.plus. That's the URL. Type it in. That's how you get there. Okay? So check that out. It's going to be a good show. Super slow week. Oh my goodness. Dude, nothing has happened in like 5 months. What the fuck? Nothing ever happens, Chud. It's the age of nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens is in Renegade. Seriously, when is the last time anything has happened? I remember when I did the Tucker interview, the reason it was so big is because nothing was going on, right? I think the last thing to happen was when Israel bombed Qatar and all that happened. Like Charlie Kirk died, Israel bombed Qatar, the General Assembly happened, and then the Gaza peace deal happened. Venezuela was sort of a big deal. The ICE idiot getting shot in the head, that was a big deal, I guess. But man, the winter during the midterms is like, bro. But 2027, that'll be our year. That's going to be a good year, you know. Anyway, so yeah, I've just been struggling even to find anything to do. I did a gaming stream earlier in the evening with Sneeko and Bradley Martin. That was a lot of fun. I hope you caught that. I was over on Kick. I didn't stream it because I don't get paid. I'm just working overtime for Sneeko. It's crazy. Sneeko makes so much money from Kick, it's not even funny. Because Kick has a partner program where they pay you to stream. I got kicked out of that. They let me in, and then they kicked me out a day later. And Sneeko's on there just printing money. And I'm promoting it for free. I'm on his stream, I'm in the live chat, I'm playing games with him. But it's okay. I like Sneeko, and I like the content. So we were having a good time. It was me, Brad, Sneeko. We might make it a regular thing. I think I might do an Arc Raider stream with them next week. Love Brad. Brad is the nigga, man. Bradley, we gotta glaze a little bit. That is a white-ass nigga going hard as fuck. And he goes hard as fuck. Remember when he slapped that guy? That was awesome. So Brad is a certified Wang Half. Sneeko is not technically white, but he's going hard as fuck too. He's been doing some great stuff on Kick, great content. We had a little back and forth on the show this week, funny stuff. So we had a fun little Fortnite gaming stream. We all suck at Fortnite though. We need a carry. Can somebody carry us, please? We cycle through the Fortnite carries, but then they all become washed. You get a Fortnite carry, and it's a guy who's like younger, and then he gets older, and then he sucks at Fortnite. It's just what happens. You're like 14 years old, you're cracked at Fortnite. I don't know what it is. It's the neuroplasticity. And then 10 years goes by, and then they become fucking washed. And so we have no carry. We have nobody to carry us. I'm an old man. I'm 27. My brain is literally not fast enough to play the game. Bradley's 400 years old. Sneeko's 29. He's just a little bit older than me. So none of us can play. Like, none of us actually have the ability. So, I don't know. Can we get Ninja? I don't even know who plays Fortnite anymore. Maybe we'll get Cheeser. I think he's good. But we'll be doing that. Well, we're doing Arc Raiders anyway. But it's kind of depressing that everybody sucks at Fortnite. Chad Champion sucks at Fortnite. Everybody sucks. But anyway, we had a good time. We had fun with it. We did the emotes and we had a good time. Okay, with that out of the way, we're going to dive in. Hey, one other thing. Did you see Candace who tweeted me today? Guys.
What the fuck is that?
Why did she do it? Like,
why do you give me hope for?
What is that? I'm trying not to read too much into that. What do you think she meant by that? She quote tweeted me. I said something like, I'm not voting Republican. I'm doing my usual thing. I'm not voting Republican. It's so funny. Everybody's like, yeah, we know you never vote. I'm like, okay, but I need to tell everyone. She quote tweeted and she's like, this is true. Guys, why do you think she quote tweeted me? What do you think she meant by that? What's her end game, Paul?
Why do you give me hope for?
What's her end game? Is she our guy?
Oh, God.
What did she mean by this? What did she mean by this? She quote tweeted me. Candace, Candace, Candace. Oh my gosh, Candace. You just can't stay away, can you? Candace, what are we doing? I mean, come on. What are we doing, Candace? Like, can we just stop? Can we just stop playing games already? I mean, seriously. Oh, yeah, you know, this woman, she's gonna be the death of me, I tell you. Can't live with her, can't live without her.
Exactly.
Isn't that what they say? Can't live with her, can't live without her. Candace fucking Owens. Of all the tweets, replies, and quote tweets, and you walked into mine. Man. I don't know, guys. Deeply troubling. But that's how it goes, you know? Isn't that how it goes? Just when you're over it. Just when you're over her. Just when you're ready to begin your life. I'm free. You've forgotten about it. All the pain and all the fights. And all the love letters. And then something just reminds you, and there you go again, a blast from the past. I don't know, guys. I don't know what I'm going to do with her. What are we going to do? You know what it is? I think she saw me flirting with that other black girl or something. Maybe she saw me say the thing about having a kid that's a black guy. Remember when I said that? Last night I said, imagine race mixing with a black woman and your son is a black guy, like George Floyd. Maybe she saw, I don't know. She's in my head again, guys. It's crazy. Anyway, you know what? It's fine. But honestly, it's fine. All right, anyway, we're going to move on.
I'm a skinhead motherfucker.
With the show as normal. Like this, like that didn't happen. Like it wasn't a red alert. DEFCON 1. All right, so that's the only other thing I can think of that even happened today. But we're going to move on. We're going to get into our show here. We're going to get into our breaking news and our featured story. What do you guys think? Tell me in the super chats.
No.
Hey, tell me what do you think about what did she mean by that? Why did she quote tweet me, guys? So bold. What a bold move. Act normal. Don't act like a chud. Hey, dude, just act cool. Play it cool. Don't be social on. All right, but we are going to move on. Our feature story, we're once again talking all about the war in Iran. I'm not going to spend too much time about it tonight because we've been talking about it. Talked about it last night. I've been talking about it. I think you guys know the score here. I'll do a little bit of background tonight, but for the most part, I want to talk about the latest. So as you know, we have this huge buildup of military force in the Middle East. And it is becoming very clear that there is going to be some form of action. Up until this point, it was a question whether anything would happen. Why is that a question? Because people are speculating that this is a deterrent. We're moving all of this force there to make a very credible threat. We want to make it look like we're getting ready to bomb Iran so that we can get them to come to the table and agree to our demands. I hesitate because a lot of people are saying we are trying to get them to negotiate. It's not about negotiations. We want Iran to give up nuclear enrichment. They are refusing. We are giving them an ultimatum. Now, it has become clear in just the last week that this is not about a credible demonstration of force. That's clearly not what this is anymore. This is not a threat. It's not a bluff. This is real. There's going to be a strike. And it seems very obvious now that that is where this is headed. Obviously, nothing is ever 100%, but it seems very likely that there will be some form of military action, and that's where this is going. Now the question is, what is that going to be? Because as you know, a month ago, the Trump administration was considering carrying out a limited strike on Iran in the middle of these nationwide protests. And Trump stood down because in the end, actually, there's two reasons. They did not have enough firepower to topple the government, which implies that their goal is to topple the government. And secondly, because of the intercession of our allies. Because all of our allies in the region, Turkey, Pakistan, the Gulf countries, Egypt, they all came to the United States and told us not to intervene. So that bought Iran another month. The combination of those two things, the lack of U.S. presence in the Middle East, coupled with last-minute intervention of basically all of our allies, it bought Iran another month. And in that period of time, the United States has increased the amount of naval firepower, air firepower, everything, so that now we are locked and loaded, offensively and defensively. We are ready to carry out a sustained air campaign against Iran for weeks, and that is a very complicated ordeal. And we are also ready to defend against any kind of retaliation. U.S. personnel has been moved out of harm's way, and additional defensive systems have been deployed. And that includes not just another THAAD system and Patriot missile batteries, but also missile destroyers that have radar systems that can detect and also intercept incoming ballistic missiles. So we're ready to go. Now, as we talked about last night, the question is, what is Trump going to do? Well, Trump and Rubio and Steve Witkoff have come to Iran and said, this can all be avoided. You do have one last chance if you give up your nuclear enrichment. You have to forfeit your stockpile of enriched uranium, and you have to give up your centrifuges. And they are saying, short of that, we are not going to destroy you. Iran is miscalculating right now. They see the game. And they're stalling, and they're trying to buy time, and they think they still have some cards to play. And they're coming to the administration, and they're saying, well, maybe we'll give up our stockpile, but we're not going to give up enrichment. And if we agree to restrict enrichment, well, we want sanctions relief. And this is what has been playing out in the past week, 2 weeks. Iran is floating these concessions, and the United States is not biting. White House is looking at Iran and saying, yeah, not good enough. That is not actually on the table anymore. You had your chance last year. If you wanted sanctions relief and investment, and you wanted some kind of deal like that, the time for that was last April. It is February 2026. It's a new deal, and the deal is this. We get everything we want, or we fucking destroy you. And that's the deal. And Iran is still playing games. Well, we don't want to meet in Turkey. Well, we don't want to talk about missiles and proxies. Well, we'll give you the stockpile, but we're not going to give up enrichment. And the United States has been very clear, basically since Tuesday, and it is uniform. Press secretary, spokesman for the State Department, Rubio, the vice president, and the president have all said, look, we are over here, and Iran is still all the way out here. If they don't come to our position, we're going to war. And Iran is showing no willingness to do this. So like I said, there's going to be an intervention. The question now is, how big, how long? Okay, I hear it. Well, let's rephrase that. That's just disgusting. Can you get your mind out of the gutter, please? That's just gross. I don't know why you the question is the scope and the scale. Just filthy. What a filthy, disgusting show. The scope and the scale of the attack. And then, and this is a related question, what is the purpose of the attack? Is it going to be a surgical strike, a very limited strike, maybe a one and done, hit them really hard one time? Or is it going to be a sustained strike over a period of a week or multiple weeks, and we hit them really hard multiple times? And the related question is, what is the purpose of this? Is the purpose of the strike to topple the government, which you could say that is the maximal option, is full-on regime change. We are trying to utterly destroy the regime by decapitating its political and military leadership, destroying all its defenses, its strategic weapons. Or is the goal more limited? Do we seek to destroy their ballistic missile stockpile, which would leave them defenseless? Do we seek to kill some of their leadership, but not all? And maybe that's the Ayatollah, and maybe it's some of the more hardline military leadership. And maybe in that scenario, the goal is not actually this time to have a once-and-for-all regime change, but to degrade Iran politically and militarily so that whatever remains will be compelled to make a deal. So that if they wipe out, let's say, half the political leadership or the top of the political leadership, then the successors might be pliable. If we destroy all of their missile systems, and they're a defenseless country, being vulnerable, they will have no more cards to play, they will be completely defenseless, and then they will raise the white flag. They'll see that the writing is on the wall, the regime is effectively over. Now, we have a report today from the Wall Street Journal. It's an exclusive, and it cites unnamed sources inside the administration, and they talk about President Trump's thinking on this, and I'll read it to you. What they say is that the president is considering a more surgical strike, and if Iran does not make an agreement after that, then we're going to get a more comprehensive strike. And this is a story from the Journal. It says, quote, President Trump is weighing an initial limited military strike on Iran to force it to meet his demands for a nuclear deal. That would be a first step designed to pressure Tehran into an agreement, but it would fall short of a full-scale attack that could inspire a major retaliation. The opening assault, which, if authorized, could come within days, would target a few military or government sites. If Iran still refused to comply with Trump's directive to end its nuclear enrichment, the U.S. would respond with a broad campaign against regime facilities, potentially aimed at toppling the Tehran regime. The first limited strike option, which hasn't been previously reported, signals Trump might be open to using military force not only as a reprimand for Iran's failure to make a deal, but also to pave the way for a U.S.-friendly accord. One of the people said Trump could ratchet up the attacks, starting small before ordering larger strikes until the Iranian regime either dismantles its nuclear work or falls. A limited strike would lead Iran to walk away from negotiations, at least for a significant time period, a regional official said, especially when officials in Tehran are currently formulating their response to U.S. demands. On Thursday, Trump said he would decide his next moves on Iran within 10 days. What? Later, he told reporters his timeline was a maximum of roughly 2 weeks. He said, we're going to make a deal or get a deal one way or the other. So this is some credible information. The timeline is 10 days to 2 weeks. And that does seem to be the timeline. On Tuesday in Switzerland, they said Iran has 2 weeks. So that would be a week from this coming Tuesday, which is in, a half week. If the timeline is now 10 days, that tracks. That makes sense. If the timeline is roughly 2 weeks, that this is consistent. So this is roughly the timeline we are working with. And I would actually go further and say, I would imagine there might be strikes within that timeline. I know that Trump loves the element of surprise, and so if he says it's 10 days to 2 weeks, maybe the strike comes towards the end of that deadline, but not outside of it. Maybe that's the thinking. There is a Jewish holiday called Purim, which celebrates the victory of the Jews over the Persians. That's in the beginning of March. Maybe that's the timeline for the attack, because the Jews and the Israelis love their numerology. Last year's attack commenced on June 13th, otherwise known as 613, which is a number of commandments in the Jewish Bible, in the Mishnah. So, are we going to wait outside of those 14 days and get to Purim? Might it be inside those 14 days? I think roughly, though, we're working with a timeline like that to prepare for a military strike. As to Iran, I think that Iran underestimates the peril they are in. And maybe their strategy is simply to stall. They are engaging the United States in talks. The Ayatollah has given permission for the president and the foreign minister to engage the United States in talks. But they're not budging. They're not budging on enrichment. There's no sign that they're budging. They're agreeing to some compromises, but their red line remains, which is they're not giving up enrichment. And they're effectively daring the United States to come at them. And they think that they are safe because I think they underestimate the willingness of the United States to go all in. They believe that in order for the United States to topple their regime, the United States will need a ground force, will need to invade. And they don't believe the United States will do that. And they also think that any protracted war with Iran will bleed into the midterms. And they underestimate Trump's willingness to engage Iran when the midterms are so soon. But I think that's a miscalculation. I think that the president is looking for a quick and decisive win here. I think, as we saw in Venezuela, he is willing to act decisively, and he's willing to act creatively. He's throwing out that old playbook. It isn't 2003. It isn't 2011. It's not like these other wars. And Trump, although he thinks that regime change is sometimes necessary, and I think that Trump loves this maximum pressure strategy that sometimes overflows into military action, it is a different playbook. I would call it like a form of smart power. And I hate that expression that comes from Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State. It's not soft power, and it's not exactly the most blunt form of hard power, but it's hard power applied in a smart way. Like what happened in Venezuela. The conventional thinking in Venezuela is that we're going to invade, or that we're going to do a major air campaign and we're going to fight their entire military and then we're going to kill everyone in the government. And Trump threw that old playbook out. It wasn't that. It was an abduction. It was an extradition. We just went in using very unconventional tactics and unconventional, perhaps, weapons. And by overwhelming their air defenses, we were able to get special forces in there, pick up the guy, and take him out. And then we, in a very strange way, it's very bizarre, we are now working with the remnant of the decapitated government. The regime remains in place. The security architecture remains in place. We kidnapped their leader, which is just like the act of war to end all acts of war. And you have our energy secretary posing for a photo op with the vice president serving the president that we kidnapped. It's unconventional. It's different. It's a different playbook. And I think that Iran, they are looking at the United States in the same way that they would have looked at the Biden administration or the Obama administration or the Bush administration. But it isn't like that. It's a new sheriff, and Trump doesn't play on that timeline. That's not his tempo. And that's not his MO. So I do believe that Trump is willing to act here. And the question now, like I said, is what is it going to be? And according to this article, it says that Trump is thinking about doing a very limited strike. And then if Iran continues to be obstinate, then we're going to go in for a more comprehensive strike. Now, here's why I don't think that is the case. They say that Trump is seeking a limited strike to avoid a retaliation. And if we only hit Iran a little bit, then they're not going to hit us back. Maybe at all, or maybe not in a significant way. And when I hear that, when I read that, I think that is just not how Trump operates. Trump doesn't do surgical strikes to avoid a retaliation. Also, once you hit Iran, you lose control of the escalation ladder. Once you hit Iran one time, then the ball is in their court. You drop any ordinance on Iran, and then it is up to them how to respond, and against who, and where, and how much. Now, it's not likely necessarily that if we hit Iran a little bit, that they're going to respond in a disproportionately strong way. I mean, I don't think that's likely. But I don't think that Trump is the type of person. He doesn't seem like the type of president that's going to do a pinprick strike, wait and see, ask them again nicely, will you negotiate, and then go in further. Because at that point, you've lost the element of surprise. You've lost the initiative. It's their turn, so to speak. And I guess it would really depend on what that first strike might look like. And based on what happened in Venezuela, that's just really hard to predict. What would the targets be? Are they going to hit the ballistic missiles? And maybe that might make sense. If we hit all their ballistic missile launch platforms, that would suppress their ability to retaliate. Maybe that's the solution. If we attack their ballistic missile launch platforms in a way that is decisive, then that would actually suppress their ability to retaliate. Maybe they could not retaliate. And without any kind of strategic weaponry at all, without their nuclear hedge, without their missiles, without their proxies, well, then they are naked. They are completely vulnerable. And so that might be an option where, at that point, they would be willing to capitulate. Or maybe it is attacks on the regime. Is it an attack on the Ayatollah? That almost certainly is something that we don't walk back from. I don't know that Iran could come to the table after that. Maybe it's an attack on their military leadership. I think that, too, might have the opposite effect. And then, if Iran capitulates, well, I don't know. I don't see how they could have any confidence that there would be more strikes against them later by Israel, or by the United States, or a combination of Israel and the United States. So if I had to guess, I think that this is a form of, I don't know what the terminology would be, but I think they're trying to throw Iran off the scent here with this. I think this is a feeler. I think this is a signal. I think this is being deliberately put out by the administration. And maybe they're testing the waters even on how this will be received by the American public. Maybe they're putting this out there, testing the waters with how Iran will respond. If there's a credible threat that the United States is going to make a move like this, maybe that increases Iran's willingness to negotiate before they're hit at all and trapped in this cycle. But I don't think this resembles what the ultimate plan will look like. I think if there's going to be a strike, it's going to be a very hard strike. I think it's going to be a very big strike, and it's going to be a surprise. And I think that Trump is going to leave Iran in ruins and maybe let a remnant of the regime make a decision. And the reason why I say this, and this was sort of my prediction last night, is that the calculus about this strike centers on the fact that regime change is really not desirable and not feasible. To dislodge the Iranian regime, as many people have said, you need more than air power. And that's really all that is there right now. We don't even have a lot of air power. If you want to dislodge the Iranian regime, air power is insufficient. Naval power is insufficient. And we don't even have a lot of it there. We wouldn't even have sufficient air and naval power if we were pursuing regime change with the ground force. So we just don't have the force posture for that to be feasible, to dislodge a government, defeat a million-man army, and whatever remnant there would be from the Revolutionary Guard or from the military or loyalists to the Ayatollah, it just isn't there. Nor do we want to do that. That's also not desirable. The last thing the U.S. government wants is a ground war in the Middle East for a variety of reasons. Because of the debt, because we have all these other responsibilities. We are fighting Russia in Ukraine. We are planning to fight China in Taiwan. The last thing we want is to be spread thin with Patriot missiles, for example, but also other kinds of weapons, aircraft carriers. We don't want to be tied down. We don't want to be on the hook because we're preparing for other conflicts in the Caribbean, in the Pacific, in the Indo-Pacific, I should say. So I don't think even the Pentagon wants that. I don't think the administration, that's just not even in the cards. What's more, even if you were to somehow cause chaos inside Iran, maybe you take out the Iranian regime with air power, then you get chaos. There is no alternative regime. There is no political alternative. There are no other institutions. There's no leader that has legitimacy. In order to have a regime change, you need to have a backup plan. You need to have a plan in place to stabilize the country, and then you need a replacement regime that can restore order. And there is nothing resembling that. There is no stabilizing force. There is no ground force. There is no alternative institution. There's no alternative political leadership that can take the place of the Ayatollah. And so what happens if you simply destroy the regime? Well, then you just get a humanitarian crisis and chaos. The borders open up, the refugees start pouring out, you get armed gangs, you get Islamism, you get probably, in the end, maybe a government that is worse than the one that came before. or the complete breakup of the country. And either way, this is catastrophic. This is not only is this not in the best interest of the United States, but it's also not in the best interest of our allies. That is not in the best interest of the Emirates, Qatar, or Saudi Arabia for there to be all this trouble in Iran. Not least of all because there are significant Shiite populations inside a few of these countries, like Saudi's eastern province and in Bahrain. You have a revolution in Iran, and in particular, you have a revolution against the Islamist government. What effect does that have on Saudi Arabia with the Shiites or everybody that's under the thumb of a hereditary theocratic monarchy? And the same story is true in Bahrain. So the government, the U.S. government, doesn't want the instability and doesn't have the forced posture and doesn't want to make the commitment, and neither does the Gulf. The Gulf doesn't want the instability. The Gulf doesn't want the war. The Gulf doesn't have the forced posture there. They're not even allowing us to use their airspace. They want out of it. So we don't have anything resembling a coalition. Nobody is willing. Nobody's cooperating. Nobody supports it, least of all our own government. So what the United States is looking for is compliance with limited intervention. And if I had to guess, with a significant percentage of the regime intact. I don't think the U.S. government wants the Iranian regime necessarily to be replaced by something else. I think that what the United States wants is to make the Iranian regime bow and give up the centrifuges. Now, the outstanding question inside of this, which is sort of interesting, is this is where you see the fundamental disconnect between Washington and Tel Aviv. We are thinking about the calculus of the United States and, to a lesser extent, the calculus of our allies, Doha, Abu Dhabi, and Riyadh. We're thinking about what is our grand strategy for the world and how does the Middle East fit in it? What is the strategy of our regional allies here that we have significant investment with and we have defensive guarantees and military commitments with these other countries? And when you think about the calculus here, when you actually break it down, we don't want a ground war. We don't even really want regime change. We don't want what is required for regime change. We don't want regime change as an outcome because the instability is too much to bear. And when you basically say it out loud like this, you realize we are completely out of step with Israel, because what Israel wants, as I have said for the past 2.5 years, and even longer than that, Israel fundamentally seeks regime change. Israel does not want a deal. Okay, and it's so funny because people keep talking about this deal, this mythical deal that is just, it's just so elusive. We're trying to get a deal. We just want them to come to the table. And here's what you need to understand. A deal is desirable for Iran, and it is desirable for the Gulf, and it is desirable for us. Why? Because with a deal, the Iranian regime can survive. That's why they want it. A deal means sanctions relief. Sanctions relief means their currency recovers, their economy recovers, they rebuild their infrastructure. It means collective security. It means they can thaw and normalize relations with Saudi Arabia, with Egypt, with Pakistan, with Turkey, with all these countries. And with a diplomatic thaw, with economic interdependence in the region, with, and maybe this is the most important thing of all, with a working relationship with the United States, they have something resembling collective security, and they feel more safe. They get that economic stability. They potentially find new allies in the region, and it makes it so that other countries do not want to participate in a war against them. So Iran wants this because if they get a deal, then they are golden, then they survive, and the Islamic Republic lives to fight another day. And it's not impossible. People are always saying, well, Iran and its theocratic Shiite government is going to end eventually anyway because the people don't really support it. Well, the counter-argument is look at Saudi Arabia. And I know that's not a perfect comparison. I understand that. But Of course, the real reason there is so much instability in Iran, it really has nothing to do with the type of the regime. It has to do with the sanctions, the industrial sabotage, the diplomatic isolation. Iran cannot have an economic relationship with Europe or the United States or most of our allies, and they're being attacked all the time. They can barely sell their oil. They have to sell it at a discount to China, and they can't even sell all of it, and their infrastructure is being attacked all the time. So Iran wants a deal. We want a deal. The Gulf wants a deal. Why? Because then it means we can stabilize the region and we can leave. If Iran is behaving, if Iran doesn't have nuclear centrifuges, then we really don't have to worry about them that much. And we can go and focus on the regions that matter to us, which are the Caribbean and the Indo-Pacific. We can worry about the Strait of Malacca, not the Strait of Hormuz, the island chain, not the Persian Gulf. We can worry about even our own backyard. We can worry about South, Central, and Latin America in general. That would be the goal. That's preferable for the United States. What is preferable for Israel, again, is that they do not want a deal because they want to see the Iranian regime collapse. Why? Because the revolutionary, theocratic government of Iran actually has a message that appeals to Muslims throughout the Middle East. So this is why Iran is so powerful. They have a revolutionary message, and they are now the patron of all these proxies in the region. The Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hezbollah in Iraq. There are minorities, or in some cases majority of Shiites in some of these other countries, like I said, like Bahrain, Saudi Arabia. This is a problem for Israel because it gives Iran influence in these countries. And if Iran has influence in these countries and has armies in these countries, then that means that they are a counterweight to Israel's influence in the Middle East. There is balance. Saudi Arabia doesn't have the same influence like that in the way that Iran does. And so Iran, with a huge population and a huge economy and lots of oil and a massive military and an idealistic or ideological message that appeals to populations in many countries, that makes them a very formidable competitor in the Middle East. And Israel doesn't like that. What's more, Iran and Israel are set against each other. They are permanent adversaries. Iran supports the aspirations of the Palestinians for statehood, and Iran ultimately is talking about a nuclear weapon because they want to be a regional power. To the extent that Iran makes a deal with the United States, and like I said, they're golden and they get to remain in perpetuity, that means that Israel cannot have uncontested influence in the region. So they don't want a deal that enshrines the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. They actually oppose a deal for that very reason. If a deal keeps the Iranian regime in place, then they are actually incentivized to sabotage any deal. They hate a deal. So people say, well, it's a question of can we get a good deal? Can we get Iranians to make a deal? They do not want a deal. That is not their goal. They don't want the happy ending, in other words. In our minds, we're thinking that's the happy ending. How can we possibly get to this situation where everybody's in peace and there doesn't need to be a war and we can have diplomacy prevail and everybody can walk away happy? No, Israel wants to rain on that parade because that is not their happy ending. Their happy ending is that Iran falls and the regime falls. And ideally, Iran is split up into different countries. And maybe you have a Kurdish country come into existence. Maybe you have Kurdistan. You have Rojava in Syria. You've got Iraqi Kurdistan, Iranian Kurdistan, maybe even Turkish Kurdistan. And Kurdistan becomes its own country, and it's Israel's closest ally. And then that becomes a hedge against Turkey. That diminishes Syria and the new government there. That diminishes government in Iraq, and it splits apart Iran. Maybe there's going to be a Turkic country that comes out of Iran. Who knows? But Israel actually wants chaos there. That is a country that is too big to exist. Israel wants it to be dismembered, chaotic, weak, or subservient to the United States and Israel. So the reason I spell this out, and maybe I'm repeating myself a little bit, is so that you can understand, yes, the United States has all these plans about how they want this to go. And we're being told about it all the time. Well, there's this impasse over centrifuges, and the negotiators are working out a deal. You have to understand that is just not the whole story here. And what must always be considered is that Israel is dead set on all of this failing. We are diametrically opposed to Israel on Iranian policy. We want a deal. They want chaos. We want diplomacy. They want a war. We want to prevent a regime change if possible. They need a regime change. It is imperative for them. And that is why they got Trump in office. The reason being is because they know that Trump is the one guy who might be the least likely in the world to make a deal. Because Trump ripped up the first deal, Trump killed Qasem Soleimani, and Trump believes that the Iranians are trying to assassinate him. So Israel has engendered all this bad blood. They've made Trump the mortal enemy of Iran, and now they've made him president so that he might actually preclude the United States from making a deal as a guy because of this grudge. So it's not about centrifuges and it's not about missiles. It is about regime change. And Israel doesn't want Iran to have centrifuges, and Israel doesn't want Iran to have missiles for the same reason that Israel destroyed Hezbollah and Assad and the Houthis and the rest of it first, because they want to make Iran defenseless so they can destroy them. And that is why Iran won't make a deal. Iran is not going to give up their missiles and their nukes, because then they know what comes next. We're telling them, look, we're going to destroy you. If you don't give up your nukes and missiles, we will destroy you. And Iran is saying, look, if we give up our nukes and missiles, then Israel's going to destroy us anyway. At least with the nukes and missiles, we have a fighting chance. At least with missiles, we're a porcupine here. And we can make it very costly and prohibitive for you or Israel to intervene. If we're sitting on a pile of 2,000 ballistic missiles, then everybody knows that if the United States goes in, people are going to die. We're going to rain missiles on Israel. We're going to rain missiles on aircraft carriers and bases. And this is the same deterrence logic of a nuclear arsenal. Why does a country get a nuclear bomb? To become a porcupine. To make it more costly to intervene than it otherwise would be. And basically make it detrimental or lethal. If you invade North Korea, everyone's getting nuked. Dead man switch. The regime cannot be allowed to fall. Because if it does, they press one button.
How in the world let that happen?
South Korea, Japan, the United States all get nuked. Well, the missiles are the same logic. The nuclear hedge was that, and the missiles are the same logic. If the Iranian regime feels as though it is going, they can press that button. We got nothing left to lose. And Israel's a very tiny country. If 1,000 ballistic missiles are falling on you all at the same time, now that's not as bad as a nuke, but that's not a great day either. And Israel doesn't have a lot of population centers, and, they can't shoot all the missiles down. If you shoot down 90% of 2,000 missiles, that's still 200 missiles that are getting in, and that's a bad day. So this is the logic there. We're trying to get a deal. Iran won't make it because the deal is going to make regime change inevitable. So that's why I think we are set, whether we want to or not, on a very decisive confrontation. It's hard for me to see, even if Iran were to capitulate to all our demands, all that does is make them prone. That's all that does. It just makes them vulnerable. They make that deal, and then you are inviting aggression. And aggression comes in many forms. Israel has said repeatedly, this is their own leadership. Israel says, we want to open up a new front in Iran. They say, we just want to control Iran's airspace the way we do with Syria. Because what happened in Syria? When the Assad regime was on the back foot, Israel was able to just do airstrikes all day long there with impunity. Syria had no ability to retaliate. They had no defenses. And so it was just open season. For a decade, Israel was able to go in wherever, whenever they felt like it, bomb anyone, anything that they wanted, even the Iranian embassy at one point, or the Iranian consulate. And Israel is out there saying, we want Iran to be the same way. Well, why can't Israel do that in Iran right now? Because Iran has missiles. They have missile factories built inside mountains underground. Because Iran has air defenses. So that's why they want the United States to come in, take all that stuff away by bombing it or through a deal, so that then Israel can open up that front and you can get the Arab Spring can visit Iran. A Persian Spring can begin. That's the goal. And by the way, the reason they say that out loud is to scare the Iranians. That's why they say it. Why do you think I know that? Because it's in the Jerusalem Post. It's in I-24. Israel's out there all the time saying, we want to bomb Iran. We can't wait to go to war with Iran. The decision's already been made. We want to bomb them all the time. The reason they say that is because Tehran hears that, and Tehran says, well, so we're never giving up our missiles. As a matter of fact, we'll do a preemptive strike because we're going to lose them in a war. We're going to lose them in negotiations. Well, we built them, and we're going out anyway, so we might as well use them. That's the logic here. So people think we're going to wiggle our way out of this one. It's not going to happen here. This is going to end in a decisive confrontation because that is what Tel Aviv wants. That is what they have always wanted. That is what happened in Iraq. That is what happened in Syria, Libya. That is just what happens. And like I said, the grand prize is that then they control the whole region. And that's worth it to them. They're willing to lose Europe. They're willing to lose the Muslim world because they're not counting on returning to the status quo from before this conflict. And that includes, within that status quo, the Islamic Revolutionary Government remaining in place. So that's where we are. 2 weeks. Countdown, 2 weeks to the war. And I don't think it's going to be a pinprick strike, and then we're going to ask them politely again, and then we go. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be heavy, and it's going to be creative, like Venezuela, unpredictable. That is Trump's MO. He loves the element of surprise. And you got pressure on the timeline because, one, the longer we wait, the more Iran rebuilds their capability. And two, you got the midterms in 8 months. So the longer we wait, that window is closing before we're in an election. It becomes a campaign issue. And Democrats are going to say, well, we don't want to support them. So that's where we are. We're going to move on, though. We're going to get into this other story here about the Religious Liberty Commission. And like I said, there's been this super chatter, friend of the show, asking me to cover this, and finally we're going to get to it. And there's not a lot to say about it. I said the other night, I went off a little bit, that it's kind of like a fairly basic story, but it's worth talking about, I suppose. So earlier in Trump's second term, he appointed this Federal Religious Liberty Commission, and it's made up of religious leaders and conservatives. And I suppose the purpose of it is to enhance religious freedom in America. And it's sort of a throwaway. Is this really a real policy-making body? They're supposed to make suggestions. It's one of these things. It's really political. But they put together this commission. And the reason that it is in the news is because one of its members has been fired because she dared to criticize the government of Israel. It's a Catholic woman, a former model. Her name is Carrie Prejean. She was appointed to the commission as a Catholic to fight for religious liberty for Catholics. They recently held an event, and this event was about the subject of anti-Semitism. She raised the question, if I am against Zionism, does that make me an anti-Semite? Am I allowed to be against Zionism? And she was told, effectively, no. You are not allowed to be against Israel.
Wow.
And then she was fired for asking the question. And this is the story. It says, quote, a member of the Federal Religious Liberty Commission has been ousted after a hearing this week that featured tense exchanges on the definition of anti-Semitism. The ousted member, Carrie Prejean Bowler, had defended prominent commentators Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. The Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, the chair of the commission, said in a statement yesterday, "No member of the commission has the right to hijack a hearing for their own personal and political agenda on any issue. This is clearly, without question, what happened Monday in our hearing on anti-Semitism in America. This was my decision." Regine Bowler challenged Patrick's authority to remove her, saying only President Trump has the power. In a post on the social media site X, she said Patrick's actions reflect a Zionist political agenda. Regine Bowler's removal came amid a wider, increasingly contentious debate over whether the right should be given a platform, or should give a platform, rather, to commentators espousing anti-Semitic views. It followed a hearing on Monday in Washington focused on anti-Semitism, featuring multiple witnesses, including first-hand accounts of students and others who said universities failed to protect Jewish students amid pro-Palestine protests. Regine had sharp exchanges with witnesses during the hearing. Seth Dillon of the Babylon Bee was there to testify that conservatives need to push back against anti-Semitism. Regine challenged him, questioning whether critics of Israel should be considered anti-Semitic. Dillon said no, but that context matters. She also questioned whether social media sites should be pressured to ban quotations of a Bible verse that attributes the death of Jesus to Jews. And she disputed Dillon's criticisms of Owens, saying that she had never heard her say anything anti-Semitic. So, this is what happened. And it just goes to show, this is pretty amazing. You have a commission on religious freedom. And isn't that the subject of everything in this country? Do we have a First Amendment? Do we have freedom of speech? Do we have freedom of religion? You have a commission that is established on the basis, it's in the name, for religious freedom. And a Catholic woman, a Christian Catholic woman, is on the commission, and she is fundamentally asking a question about her religious liberty as a Catholic. As Christians, we actually are set against rabbinical Judaism and Zionism as a political ideology. That is not something that we support. The entire basis of our religion is that Jesus Christ is the promised Messiah in the Old Testament, something that Jews don't believe. One of the reasons the Jews do not believe this is because Jesus arrived promising a heavenly kingdom, not an earthly kingdom. But what's the relevance? The Jews, in defiance of God and having rejected their own Messiah, have established a country in Israel in preparation for what they think will be their worldly Messiah, who they think will bring them an earthly kingdom. Catholics cannot support this. By definition, our Messiah arrived, and his kingdom is not of this world. It's not going to be a Jewish state in Israel. As a matter of fact, it's not on earth at all. It's a church. It's a heavenly kingdom. It's in heaven. And the Messiah arrived. The king already arrived. The king of the Jews, the king of Israel, he was here 2,000 years ago. We're not waiting for him to come back when these people rebuild the third temple by killing millions of people or thousands of people. So it is actually our religious liberty to be able to say this. No, I'm not a Zionist. No, I don't support Israel. And no, I don't support the Talmud. I think that's heretical. And no, I don't support rabbinical Judaism. I don't support any of that. And for saying this, you're kicked off of the Religious Liberty Commission. It's a commission for religious liberty. If we as Catholics express our religion, you're kicked off that body. And so what rights do we have? Think about it this way. Jews go to college, and they're overrepresented by 2,000% in the highly selective schools. Jews go to college, and you have at the same time protests occurring about what is happening in Israel. And for the Jews, this is a civil rights violation. They literally have taken it to the Department of Justice and say that if Palestinians or pro-Palestine groups are hosting protests, the Jews say that's a civil rights violation. That's discrimination. That's anti-Semitism. If you support Palestine, our civil rights are being violated. And that is the basis of the hearing. So Jews cannot be critiqued. Israel cannot be protested. Nobody can talk about this religion. Nobody can oppose the religion. Nobody can oppose the country. Those are their rights as Jews. As Christians, we can't even disagree. We can't even speak our mind about these things, or else we get removed. Is that a civil rights violation for us? Is it a civil rights violation when we have to hear about Judeo-Christianity, Holocaustianity? We have to hear about all that. Is that a violation of our civil rights? And you see, this is a Catholic woman who I imagine is a Trump supporter. She gets thrown off the commission. Where is Trump defending her? Hey, where's J.D. Vance defending her? Where is the recent Catholic convert J.D. Vance on this one? Is he going to put her back on the board? Because he just converted. This is his religion too. Is he going to speak out in favor of her? What about Trump? And you realize that not only is the whole country under the spell of this false religion, but in particular, it is the Republican Party, as we all know, and it's this administration. Ironically, if you're a critic of Israel, you would probably have a better shot at staying on that board under a Democrat administration than you would a Republican. And don't get me wrong, you know me, I'm not a Democrat, and obviously the Democrats have their problems. They support Israel too, and they support abortion, and they support a lot of wicked things in their own right. But what does it say? I'm making a point here. What does it tell you about the Republican Party that if you have two religious liberty commissions, you would actually last longer on the Democrat one criticizing Israel than you do on the Republican one? If you're a Catholic under the AOC presidency and Ryan Grimm is in the cabinet with Hassan Piker, you probably have more latitude to have the Catholic position on Israel than you do in a Republican one. Because the difference is, in the Republican administration, you have these Zionists all over the White House. They are all over the admin. And I think to a much greater extent that you do the other way around. So I saw this. It's pretty outrageous. But I also said the other night, I don't think anybody should really be surprised. This is just what you're in for. And that's actually why the Trump government was empowered. Everywhere you look, this is what you see. I mean, literally think of the biggest issues of our time right now. War in Iran. Who is it for? Israel. Acquisition of Warner Brothers by Paramount. Who is it for? Israel. Acquisition of TikTok by Larry Ellison. Who is it for? Israel. All these different departments and agencies. The education department, they're shaking down Harvard, Columbia, UPenn. Who is it for? Israel. It's over these Palestinian protests. Even the Religious Liberty Commission, is this for Christians? No, it's to give a hearing for Shabbos Kestenbaum to complain about anti-Semitism at Harvard. Department of Homeland Security has banned my friends from coming into America. Their tourist visas have been suspended because they have criticized Israel on social media. Think about it. We do not have mass deportations of illegal aliens, but if you try to apply for a visa from Europe, having criticized Israel, they'll shut it down. They won't let you in America. State Department reviews 50,000 visas, analyzing social media accounts to see if you have ever tweeted something anti-Semitic. That's literally our immigration policy. If you're an illegal immigrant working on a farm, you can stay. If you're European, but you criticized Israel on Twitter, you are banned from coming into America. Who is it really all for? It was never for us. And I'll tell you this, it was never for Catholics either. Think about how Trump treated Catholics in 24 versus how he treated Jews. In 2024, when Trump downplayed the issue of abortion, Catholics revolted. And you should have seen what the Republicans said about the Catholics. They said, shut the fuck up. You're not serious. If you're going to not vote for Trump over this, then we don't want you. You don't have what it takes to win, blah, blah. I mean, think about it. The administration, the campaign, totally offended and alienated Catholics. And when Catholics got mad, they basically said, well, deal with it. What are you going to do? Go with the other side? Would they ever do that to Jews? Would they ever do that to the pro-Israel crowd? Obviously not. It's the opposite. It's the actual opposite. So if you're losing people like this, she gets fired from the Religious Liberty Board. What even is the Trump administration for at this point? It's not pro-free speech. It's not pro-religious liberty. It's not anti-war. It's not reindustrializing the economy. It's not nativist. It's not restrictionist. Like, what is it even for? What was the purpose of this government, actually? When you take a look around, what was the purpose of it? When you look at social media and legacy media, is it more pro-Israel and censored or less? It's certainly more than it was in 24. When you look at education, was there more freedom of speech on campus before or less? Certainly there's less now after Trump went to Harvard and Columbia and UPenn and took all their money away. Everywhere you look, the administration has failed to do the things that it promised that it would do for its voters, failed to uphold the values, actually, that conservative voters have, that right-wing populist voters have. And the things that have actually tangibly been done, the real victories, it's for these people. Larry Ellison controlling TikTok is a victory for them. Harvard having to agree to these terms from the Department of Education, that's a victory for them. Going to war with Iran, that's a victory for them. 50,000 anti-Semites banned from the visa program, that's a victory for them. What about everybody else? It's totally insane. And that's why I say, look, I shouldn't even say it. I was going to use a slur here, but I'm talking about this woman. I don't want her to get in trouble for my defensive. But I see people on Twitter defending this administration, and I just think, how raped can you possibly be? How mind raped can you be to defend an administration that does nothing for you but everything for everybody else? You're out there plan trusting. You're out there doing apologia. You're an apologist for this administration. You defend everything to the hilt. People criticize Trump. You tell them, you're just not serious. You just don't get it. It's five-dimensional chess. I'm a plan truster. Think about this. And what does Trump do for you? What does he do for everybody else? Excuse me. What about our civil rights as Catholics? Do we have any? Our civil rights as Christians, or do we just get a J.D. Vance speech at the March for Life? Thanks, but no thanks, pal. And that's really what it is. For all of us, we get the tokens, we get the gestures, we get these performative gestures. I'm sick of it. That's really what it is. Don't you understand? It's sort of like black people in the Democrat Party. Conservatives, white people, Christians, we just get like ribbons, bro. We get nothing. We are on the GOP plantation. They ask for our vote. They do nothing for us. We are on the GOP plantation as white slaves. And the GOP comes around. They do these grand performative gestures. And you know what? I'm going to say it. America's a Christian nation. And we go, oh my gosh, he just said it. We are winning. And then they get in and they pull shit like this. Then they do nothing. They enshrine gay marriage into law. A Republican Senate did that. Think about this. In 2022 or 2023, was it? When the government enshrined gay marriage into law to protect it after Roe was overturned, Republicans voted to do this. So if you think about it from the perspective of like a social conservative, of like that's your most important issue. Yeah, we're going to go to March for Life and give a speech, and then you go and do something like that. And you go and give a speech and say, you know what, we're going to deport all the illegal aliens. Then you don't. So we get the speech, we get the pat on the head, we get a little sticker, we get a little patch for our coat, and every interest group gets what they actually are asking for. And I'm just the person that's saying we should demand something tangible here. And you just really need, it really needs to sink in that we are not in charge here, okay? You are not in charge. We are right-wing populists. We are the people. We are the American people. And our representatives should be working for us. They should be delivering for us. I'm not saying you can't deliver for some of the interests. You need money to run for office, but you need to look out for us too. The country has elites and the country has the people. Yes, I understand there are some things that need to happen for the maintenance of society, but the people have been getting screwed for a long time. And the message of the show is, look, you're not in charge. Who is actually in charge? Who's actually has the important positions? It's Jews, atheists, liberals. It's these types of people, and that's why they get all the advantages. That's why they get all the privileges and the benefits, and we get screwed. So, you want the country to resemble your vision? You need people with your values actually in the positions of power, using power. This is embarrassing. It's like a Catholic who isn't on board with Israel is on some commission. It's like they're going to make recommendations. You can't even have that position if you're not a slave to Israel. If you are not completely obsequious to the state of Israel, you can't even have a seat on this commission. Forget about you're a secretary, a cabinet level post. Forget about you're the president, vice president. You can't even have a position on some recommendation making body that isn't even getting attention unless you are absolutely in the pocket. What does that say about who runs our country and who doesn't? So that's why the message of the show is that Jews have too much power. The message is not, I disagree with the actions of the Israeli government. No, Jews have too much power. Does that make me an anti-Semite? I don't give a fuck. Tucker Carlson called me an anti-Semite again. Did you see this? Tucker was interviewed by Doug Wilson, who is getting money from somewhere, who funded his big compound he just got recently, and why all of a sudden is he glazing Israel all the time? What happened to him? But he's one of these theonomy Christian nationalists. He's in bed with Yoram Azoni. He's in bed with the Israelis. He's a scumbag. He's interviewing Tucker Carlson, and Tucker calls me an anti-Semite. He says, I disagree with Nick Fuentes because he beats up on girls and he's an anti-Semite. And the difference between me and Tucker Carlson is that Tucker says that the problem is the Israeli government is doing things we don't like. My problem is Jews have too much power over a Christian nation. America's a Christian nation. It was founded by Christians, built by Christians, settled by Christians, and it was born from Christian civilization. Everything that we love about America was born from Christianity. Everything. You don't have America. You don't have Europe. You don't have Western civilization without Christianity. It would be unrecognizable without it. This is a Christian nation, but clearly it doesn't feel like one anymore because you can blaspheme Christ all day long. There's no prayer in schools. There's no societal standards, no Christian values. What you do have, though, is something resembling a Jewish cult at the center of everything that cannot be critiqued or acknowledged. It is sacrilegious to criticize Jews. It is sacrilegious to question the Holocaust. You do have recognition of the Jewish holidays in the schools. Everything is catered towards them. And that is because they have too much power. That is because they have power in finance, media, Hollywood, politics, and they use that power to cancel anybody that criticizes them and talks about them. And I have a problem with that. No, this is not okay, actually. Hey, Tucker, this is not okay. It's not okay that the ADL is able to overrule free speech. And what kind of group are they? It's not okay that Bill Ackman can go to his friend Larry Fink at BlackRock and say, we're going to blacklist anybody that protested Israel in college. It's not okay that Harvard was deprived of all their money so that they could fire their president and replace her with a Jewish doctor. None of that is okay. It's not okay that Larry Ellison is in control of TikTok with its new Jewish CEO. No, they have too much influence, and they have abused it. We got rid of all the quotas. We got rid of all the discrimination. Everything was equal rights and actually affirmative action. We opened the way for Jews to ascend and become the new elite, and they have abused their power. The Jews have ruthlessly and cynically wrested power away from guilty WASPs, from guilty white people. They have hoarded the influence and the wealth, and now they are abusing it. They're abusing it for their own purposes, to the detriment of everybody else, and it needs to fucking stop. And the only reason that it goes on is because people are afraid. There's more of us than there are of them. And if we stood up, their game would be over. So what do? They isolate people. They isolate anybody that criticizes them, and they make an example out of them, and they create a chilling effect. And make it so that you can't buy and sell. You can't have access to a platform. You can't come into the party. You're banned from the organization. You're banned from the industry. You can't be friends with people, seen with people. That's what they did to me. That's what they do to everybody. If you make it clear that you are not on board with this diabolical regime. And that's the problem. So Tucker says that's anti-Semitic. I don't care what you call it. It's the truth. Is the truth anti-Semitic? I do not support Zionism. I do not support our Jewish overlords. I am a Catholic. I do not think that Jewish people that deny Christ, or that are just hedonists, I don't think they should have power over us. I think Christians should have power in the country. Not Jews. Christians, you have your country. That excuse is stale. They say, well, but what about us? We're this tiny minority. Yeah, well, if you ever get too uncomfortable, there's the exit sign. You got a country that's Jewish. This is a Christian country. And in this Christian country, people have rights, and they have dignity, and they have freedom to practice their religion. So it's actually a pretty good deal, but you've been abusing your power for far too long. Don't tell me it's about the organized neocons. The organized neocons canceled Pat Buchanan, he says. It ain't the neocons. They called him an anti-Semite, not an anti-neocon. That's what it is. That's what's going on, and everybody knows that. But anyway, that's that. I do want to move on. We're going to get into our super chats. We'll see what you guys have to say about this. That's the story. Pretty standard stuff. All right, let's take a look here. I finally did the story. Beth Marie, I hope you're happy. I really do feel bad because she's a huge supporter. I really bit her head off last night. I feel awful about it, to tell you the truth. And I never do, because most of you guys have it coming, but she really didn't. And I honestly misread her super chat. I made a mistake. And I lost my temper, so we love you, Beth. Don't take it. I hope you accept my apology. Let me say it that way.
Next 67 cent, $20. Did you see Zerka get mocked by Katie Law on Twitter for saying Asians aren't sexy? I just hope he catches a break soon. Also, let's just admit Asians are sexy, but not for marriage.
No, I didn't see that. No, I haven't seen that interaction. What happened? How did he get mocked?
Go click on 13 cent, $100.
Hey, thank you for the big super chat. No message. Nice.
Colin sent $20. The other week you were talking about the two versions of Epstein and how one of them was a distraction. Makes me wonder if the YouTube videos in the 2010s about the Illuminati, Freemasons, reptilians were deliberate distractions so people would focus on the Jews in Israel.
It's possible. Who knows? The deeper you get into this world, you realize how strange everything is. And they're very skilled in informational warfare. I just think it could just as easily be that a lot of people are just really dumb. The world is a complicated place, actually.
Fitness sent $50. I get the whole Venus law philosophy. My GM can't lose weight no matter how much she works out or diets. Her expert doctor said it's because of her thyroid and genetics. Any advice on how I can help her get lean? She's 5 feet 6 inches and 210 pounds. Very pretty.
Okay. Nate used to be believable.
Salid Fortis sent $25. I know you love Taxi Driver. Have you seen Cape Fear? One of the hero's best roles ever.
Yeah, I don't agree. I didn't like it. I saw Cape Fear. Not a fan. Forgettable. I saw it many years ago, and I was unimpressed. I actually like him in the Jackie Brown. I like his role in Jackie Brown. That's like an underrated De Niro. I love Robert De Niro. I really like him in Taxi Driver. Obviously like him in Godfather 2. Like him in love him in Casino, Goodfellas. Raging Bull, of course. You know, I never saw The King of Comedy. Like, is he in The King of Comedy? I think he is, right? I never saw that one. Yeah, I never saw that. But no, I didn't dig Cape Fear. Not a fan.
Candace's chocolate cheeks sent $20. How do you think Candace would pronounce rendezvous?
Hey, come on now. That's my girl you're talking
Mulatto
about.
Grover sent $20. If you are a minority and you are sentient enough to be IQ built, willfully reproducing with your own kind as opposed to a white person is ensuring that your future child will not be as intelligent as they could be. No smart black would ever have a child with another black if they could help it.
Okay. I guess, bro.
Samuel Ray sent $20. Why is there no size large on the quarter zips?
I don't know, man. Why are you always asking me these questions? I don't know. Okay, I don't make the merch, okay? I'll ask about that. I have no
Earth
idea.
Wild sent $20. Junior.
We probably sold out, okay?
Earth Wild sent $20. Junior Grover here. Like your idea about voting for a Drew AF candidate in 28. But what are the chances really? Meaning, how much can change in 2 years?
Literally kill yourself. I mean, what are the chances? Dude, just shut the fuck up and kill yourself at this point. It's like, honestly, if you're that hopeless, seriously, just commit suicide. What are the chances? I'm just black-pilled. Okay, then just end it all, okay? You fucking miserable loser, then just commit suicide then. If you're such a sad sack loser, it's a sin not to hope. Do you know that? Why would you get up every day if there's no hope then? Would you stop getting up every day if there was no chance? I mean, seriously, fuck you. Just kill yourself then. Just dig a hole in your backyard, shoot yourself, and have somebody come and bury you, you fucking loser. I hate that.
Fucking
I
dude.
can't stand. I've never asked those questions in my life. What are the chances? What are the... Never tell me the odds. What are the chances? Can we win? Are we gonna make it? I feel black-pilled. Fuck you. Nothing more despicable than that mentality. Here, get a fucking broom then and shut the fuck up. Get a broom and just be a slave somewhere. Nobody needs that. Nobody needs you then. Nobody needs that attitude. The world is made up of people that wake up every day and face the world. That's who makes the world go round. You know who picks up the trash? You know who keeps the lights running? You know who keeps the water flowing? You know who brings the groceries to the store? It's people that wake up every day and face the world with all of its problems, all their problems. That is what makes the world go around. Not people that wake up and say, are we going to make it? And do you know who rules the world? People that dare to dream. That's who rules the world. You want to know who has power? People that show up and fucking take it. That's who has all the money, all the influence, all the power. People that were bold enough to stake their claim and fucking take it. Who figured it out. Who were daring. Not people that woke up and said, I mean, what's the use? What are the chances? The chances are sometimes actually quantifiable. And that's what we have to do. Figure it out. Okay, you're never going to get great odds. Life does not have great odds. You know what the odds are that you're going to die? 100%. You know what the odds are that your kids are going to die? 100%. You know what the odds are that this is all going away? 100%. Those are the odds. That's the odds you need to worry about. What are the chances? Here's the chance. One day you're going to wake up and die. So... You know, what is it that you need to do that you're so worried about the chances? Well, what are you trying to figure out here? You got somewhere else to be? I like your idea, but what are the chances? Hard not to be black-pilled. Well, like I said, you should go curl up and just wait to die then. Because what's the use? It's all over, and there's no chance anything can ever happen. So just shut the fuck up and leave us all alone. You just rot in bed and forget it. Everyone else will figure it out. People will go on. People will live their lives. Battles will be fought and won. Nations will rise and fall. It will all happen while you die, okay? You gave up. You forfeited. You lose. You didn't even play. Everybody else will fight and dare and adventure and dream and fucking try. You gave up. Okay? There's nothing I hate more. Nothing I hate more than that. It's just such a poisonous mentality. You get people like that around you, they start introducing doubts and fear and uncertainty. And it's just negative. And it's not to say that you want to be irrationally exuberant, but it is to say you need to think in terms of how do we fix a problem. This does nothing. What are the chances, really? It's not a question I'm willing to entertain. You know, whatever the odds are, it's what they are. All we can do is make the odds better, and then you roll the dice. That's life. That's all you can really do. Everything is a question of chance and randomness and uncertainty. All you can do is make your own luck. Yes, life is about luck, and you can make your own luck. But this is not the way. That's not how you do it. What are the chances? I mean, it's hard not to be black-pilled. That's really hard for you? Well, you know what's really hard? Winning. You know what's really hard? Creating something, building something, winning a difficult battle. That's harder, actually. So, if you can wipe your tears away and grow a fucking pair of balls for 2 seconds, then you'll be there in 26. If not, fuck you. You can go with the women. Faggot. You can go with the women.
Hi, Invoice at $20. Hi, Nick. Thanks for a great show. My friend Nick's birthday is this weekend, and I was hoping you could wish him a happy birthday. He's a huge fan. God bless.
Hey, thank you very much, man. Happy birthday. Hey, thank God it's Friday, right? Tomorrow's Friday, the end of a long week. I tell you, doing the show 5 days a week is brutal. I know you don't believe me, but it is. And sometimes, a lot of the time, I only do 4 nights a week. When I do these, 5-day weeks for many weeks in a row, it's it's tough. I only did 4 nights last week, and I'm like, that's so many shows. It's hard to come up with 2 hours worth of content every day, because there's not 2 hours worth of content every day. And it's hard to get in the right mentality. Here's the thing. People always say, oh, you have it so easy, and that's true in some ways, but the hardest part of this job is, being upbeat and in the right mindset. Because if you just have a regular job, you can be miserable. You can sell insurance miserably. You can do whatever it is that you people do. You can do insurance claims miserably. You can be a lawyer miserably. You can do finance stuff miserably. Okay? You can be a chemical engineer miserably. You can do all these things in a miserable way. But you can't be a miserable and do this show. I guess you can, and I do, but I don't feel good about it. You gotta work yourself up. Okay, everybody, time for the show, Especially for me, because I'm... Hey, how can I help?
Thanks, Jimmy Swoops.
But happy birthday. How did I make that about me? Happy birthday. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Jimmy Swoops at $25. Love the show and appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you and God bless.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate
Big
it.
Sprinkles sent $200. No message.
Hey, thank you for the huge super chat. Hey, and no message. Can you just change the username? I really hate this username. Titty Sprinkles. It's just like the most millennial Gen X coded. It reminds me of that time I was talking to that old Ku Klux Klan member, You guys remember this? It reminds me of that time I was talking to this old KKK member, and he kept asking me if I've ever been to a titty bar. He was like some millennial Gen X skinhead. And he was like, you ever been to a titty bar? And I'm like, no. Like,
No.
no. I've never been to a titty bar. He's like, oh, well, that's your problem. You gotta go to a titty bar. I'm like, yeah, I'll get right on that. Thanks. Thanks for the advice, role model. It was when I did that MTV thing. Many years ago, MTV did a show about me. And it was one of those, like, it's one of those shows where they were trying to make me look like a raging Nazi white supremacist. And so part of the setup is they said, well, we're going to get you to talk to a former KKK, like a reformed KKK member. Like he works for some left-wing nonprofit. He turned his life around to snap me out of it, you know. And so they have me sit down with this old Klan member, and, you know, they have him watching my show, and he's like, I can't believe he's saying the stuff we were saying, but now it's in a suit and tie. This is the same Klan rhetoric. I'm sure they gave him a couple $100. They got some old hillbilly who used to be in the Klan. They said, hey, here's a couple $100. You can pretend to be a liberal faggot. So then we sit down at this bar, and he's like, you know, the kind of stuff you're saying, it's the same stuff we were saying, except you're wearing a suit and tie. Oh, wow. Did that Jew write that for you? And anyway, then off camera, he was telling me I should go to a titty bar. I'm like, yeah. Thanks, but no thanks. Right? But so anyway, so when you say that, it's just giving me like total Gen X millennial. It just disgusts me.
The Girl Hyperson X sent $50. Good evening. I posted the Black Pill Trilogy by Eggy on X.
Hi, thank you. We need that. The Zoomers need to hear this. You're living in La La Land, pal. You didn't tweet. No, you didn't tweet it. It says you have not tweeted, asshole. Oh, wait, maybe it's just my browser. Okay, you did post it. I take that back.
We are again. Didn't think I was going to have to make this video again. But unfortunately, it's become apparent to me
Here, let me pull it up.
I haven't learned. Still living in fucking La La Land. Little fantasy world where everything's going to get okay, everything's going to get all better.
This is classic stuff, you guys.
I'll tell you something, buddy. Not going to happen. Okay? Let's check this out. I was reading some threads last night. And, you know, just the usual stuff on there. People were talking about, somebody posted some Tinder experiment. Screen caps. You already know how Tinder experiments go. You know how the Cupid experiments go. You know how it goes, but people always want new people on the board, alright? More Redditors, more underage kids, more Tumblr. Wait nights and shit, you already know how it is. They don't know, okay? They don't get it. I gotta tell them, I gotta school them right now, I'm afraid. Wish I didn't have to, but I got to, okay? Listen, you kids, you're living in La La Land, alright? Thinking, you know, every little thing you do, you're thinking, oh, this next thing I do, this is gonna be what, you know, I'm lonely, I can't find a girl, fucking loser, blah, blah, blah. Next thing I do, it's gonna be the last thing I gotta do. This is just the last little step I gotta do. And then I'm gonna be getting the ladies, and I'm doing this, so I go, somebody. It's not quite that easy. See, if you're reading Tinder experiments, if you're reading OkCupid experiments, you're probably already too fucking far gone, alright? You're probably already fucked. Okay?
So true.
Probably just aren't cut out to make it. Okay? There was something on the screen just now. Some guy, 14-year-old kid or whatever, found this some girl he grew up with. They were dating. They were whatever. They were 18 years old. They were saving each other virginity for marriage. And there, he's got thinking himself, oh, and anybody who any bitter loser who had been seeing this shit, been paying attention to these kids or whatever, some background character in their lives, some bitter fucking loser, he thought to himself, oh man, that had just been me. If I'd just been that 14-year-old kid, if I'd just done this and that, and then I would have made it. No. It doesn't work like that, because you know what? She met a genetically superior male. She ran into a genetically superior male. And she was alone with this genetically superior male for just a few days. And he fucked her brains out. She didn't give one fuck about this loser that she dated for 4 years. She didn't give a shit about this fucking loser. Why? Because he was genetically inferior. Women aren't around. And obviously I'm not a fucking feminist, alright? The whole video I made about that was...
So that's just a little preview, but this is like the OG. This is the blueprint, okay? That is the blueprint. Black Pill Manifesto, that is a classic, okay? That is who we are, not like, you don't need to identify with him as a person, but like, that is the intellectual precursor to clavicular, inceldom, looks maxing, all that kind of stuff. That is like foundations of internet culture, like the broader right-wing subculture 101. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Does that sound like anything that has happened recently? Like the Valentine's Day mogging? Like, I don't know, a certain tradcath? Void? Wayward Void? Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Anyway, so I appreciate you uploading that, because I think they took it off YouTube, but that's a classic. I remember seeing that in the early days. I probably saw that in like 2017, 2018, total game changer. A buddy of mine sent it to me because it's just true. And it's funny because, for me, that's just like obvious, but when you're a kid, obviously you don't think of it that way. When you're a kid and you watch movies and you're raised by your parents and everything, you think, oh, well, the pure of heart wins out. And it literally takes a video like that to induce anxiety that kind of wakes you up about that dynamic. And so that was pretty foundational text. And I think looks maxing is the fulfillment of this, because you have people that are watching a video like that and the message is like, looks are the only thing that matters. If you're genetically better looking, then you're good, and if you're not, then you're fucked. And that's the black pill. The black pill is that if the only thing that matters is the thing that you were born with and can't change, then if you're not born the right way, then you're fucked. So it's over. However, now this is the upshot. So Clavicular grew up on forums like that. And it's the same ideology, but she is the answer. Okay? Clavicular is the answer to the question posed by Eggy. Okay? You see? Eggy's problem is fulfilled in Clavicular. Clavicular fulfills Eggy. Nobody could answer the riddle. Nobody could complete the system. Clavicular completed the system. Because, back in those days, 10, 15 years ago, people came to these conclusions. They said, if you're an ugly male, you're just cooked. If you're ugly or broke or a loser, all the above, just basically ugly, you're done. And so that's why Elliot Rodger killed all those girls, and that's why Eggy made that video. But do you know what happened? Here's the happy ending. Eggy became a rapper. He became a SoundCloud rapper. He got some internet clout, and he eventually got laid. That guy that made that video, he eventually got laid and got a girlfriend because he clout maxed. Even though he's ugly, he got clout, and he was able to find a girl. White pill. Clavicular. Didn't start out a good-looking guy. He had some, he's tall. He had some other stuff going for him. But through modifications, he was able to ascend to become a Chad, and now he's good, you see? So that's why clavicular matters. A lot of people don't really get it because they don't see where it came from. I grew up with the black pill. I grew up with that. I grew up with Eggy. I grew up with incel, Pua, all that kind of stuff. And now to see, this is why people don't get it. This is why I say boomers laugh. You got these boomer faggots that are like, it's all gay. Oh, what? I see it. It's some people I like, some people I don't like. They don't get it. They don't fucking get it. Every incel understands what clavicular represents. For all of us. For all men. We all understand what he represents. Old heads don't fucking get it. Tucker Carlson doesn't get it. Michael Knowles doesn't get it. These other people, they don't get it. They are not dealing with Instagram. They are not dealing with hypergamy. This is a new phenomenon. This is a 21st century phenomenon. Or at least it's a phenomenon that we became aware of because of the forums. The forums have allowed people to congregate, share their experience candidly, and it's like a science. People have figured these things out, that we are in this predicament. And losers and neets and incels have been languishing with this problem. That is until there have been some breakthroughs. And it's funny because if Clavicular didn't ascend, if he remained kind of like a chud, he would probably just be like a niche internet meme, a micro celeb. If he looks today like he did 2 years ago, like a fucking chud, he wouldn't be super famous. He would just be some niche meme micro e-celeb, like Kantbot or something. Like, he'd be comparable to that. He'd be comparable to one of those types of people. But because he succeeded, he did it. It's like he just figured it out, and won the game. And he vindicated Lucasm. And in doing so, ascending, he took the white pill, the black pill, and made it a white pill. And now he's made all this stuff mainstream. That's the significance of it. So he's the fulfillment. He fulfills that prophecy. Because Eggy says, you should be black-pilled. It's over. Teen love? Forget about it. Nice guy? Doesn't matter. Oh, you think this next thing you're going to do? I'm going to get a new car. I got a new job, new clothes. What? Doesn't fucking matter. And Clav fulfills it by saying, no, you can do something. And he proved it. You don't have to go all that far, but we can improve. We can get better. We can overcome. Truly Nietzschean. That's the irony. All these Nietzschean vitalists who are Jews, they all support J.D. Vance, who's a fat slob. Dude, Clav is overcoming. Clav has overcome. And, anyway, so that's the significance of it. So I appreciate you posting the Eggy Manifesto, because that's what I was referencing about Valentine's Day. That guy that got mogged on Valentine's Day, that's what happened to him. And that guy was not a loser either. He's a good-looking guy. He's there at the bar with this girl. But who shows up? A famous, good-looking, better-looking streamer. And she just goes with him.
Ugh.
And you hear this all the time. High school sweethearts. She goes to college. 500 football players later. Game over. So, anyway, W. Thank you for the trilogy. Yeah, the new heads don't know this stuff. The new heads don't know the lore. People got red-pilled after fucking COVID. They weren't in the trenches like that. They didn't see the OkCupid study. They weren't there. I was there. I wasn't that into that. I wasn't on the forums, okay? I don't want to do any stolen valor. I wasn't on the forums. But I was on Poll, and I was on Twitter, and I was aware of a lot of that stuff. And that's what informed my philosophy. So people say, how do you seem to have instincts about relationships and things like that? It's because I'm red pilled and other people are not. Other people just didn't. They never went through that.
Denny Sprinkle said $100. Tucker's camp saying he was detained at the airport by Israel seems totally staged and all for show.
100%. Yeah, that's fake. Thank you for the big super chat. Total publicity stunt.
Denny Sprinkle said $50. Apex Legends greater than Fortnite.
Does that even still exist? Who's playing Apex Legends in 2026? Apex Legends? Yeah, more like gay sex legends.
$20. When are you going to tell us the GN merch stands for Women in Abundance?
Oh, that's crazy. No way. No way. Dude, that's crazy. Oh, we got to get some Goyim in Abundance merch.
Fuck yeah.
No fucking way. Dude, that's meme magic. Goyim in Abundance. Get your Goyim in Abundance hats. Okay, that's hilarious. That's super chat of the year. Easy.
$20. Native's flag came in today. Great quality. Have it flying high.
Awesome. Glad you like it. W.
Marcos 321 Wheeler said $20. Hot Nick was confessed just for curiosity as a Catholic. Do you do that? This is something of me personally. I don't really do. I know some people who know, so just
It's not optional. Do you do Lent? It is Lent, and yeah, you have to do it. So yes. Do you do Lent? Like it's optional. That's crazy.
Labor Chop said $20. At this point, you should just sit down with Sneeko and run David Wood's Islamic Dilemma to sample that. Christian Sneeko.
I don't know the Islamic dilemma, but I wish he were Christian. I really do. I'll have to Google that one. I don't know that.
Smith said $20. Rest in peace, Cal from Euphoria. Most relatable character in television history.
Who is that? The dad? Is that the gay dad or whatever? Yeah. Right. Oh, he died? In real life? Oh, that's crazy. Dude, he was young. Oh, man. That's terrible. What happened to him? Lou Gehrig's disease. Well, is he going to come back for season 3? I didn't finish season 2, so I assumed he meant he died in the show or something. That's crazy. Damn. Well, that sucks. All right,
$20. My sister says there's a good amount of Navy crew members. Love the show, been watching ever since CK. Your takes on women are the gospel, dude. Smiley face emoji. Keep it up. Praying gesture emoji. P.S. Your Kanye theme song is undeniably powerful.
What's my Kanye theme song? I don't know what you mean by that, but thank you, W Navy.
Cross Divinity said $100. You see the Joel Webb and Jared Taylor interview? Jared is critical of Christian nationalism, but seemed impressed with Joel's racial consciousness derived from theology. High praise from the OG.
No, I didn't. I'll have to watch that. Thank you for the big super chat. That'll be good. I really like Joel. Joel is a good dude. I think my thing with him just came out the other day, another episode, if I'm not mistaken. So I enjoyed my talk with him. I'll watch the thing with Jared.
Cena 7 Pro percent $20. Hey Nick, have you heard of Andy Frisella? He was first formed and hosts the Relay F podcast, which covers politics sometimes. I saw a clip from the show recently where he was giving a good take on replacement migration, which is surprising to hear from someone whose brand isn't dedicated to politics. If so, thoughts?
I don't know him. What is first form? I don't know what that is. Oh, I see. So, on his website, he has a picture of himself with a piece of duct tape over his mouth. And written on the duct tape, it says society. If you don't know who that is. I guess that's his, let me pull it up. Let me show you. Let's see, yeah, okay, yeah, so... Oh, it just changed. Yeah, so take a look at this. So it's That's how I feel sometimes. I feel exactly the same way. This is how I feel. That's how I feel. I sell an Epstein quarter zip and everyone calls me a pedo defender. I say the pedophilia doesn't really apply to 15 to 17. And I get attacked for it. That's how I feel all the time, actually. I kind of can relate to this. That's how because I'm real as fuck. I'm real as fuck, too. Ah, sick. Yeah, I'm not familiar with him, but seems like a patriot.
Beard and sent $30. Your obsession with clavicular makes you constantly contradict yourself. One day it's if you do drugs or drink alcohol, you're a bozo, then I'm Clav is he's so glorious shit on fans for being backed by Teal. But think it's like a funny bit that Clav is Teal is a gay sugar daddy. Stop it.
Clav isn't funded by Teal. That's just made up. Clav has... That's so funny that you think those two things are comparable. J.D. Vance got $15 fucking million from Teal, is the vice president, was literally created in a laboratory by Peter Thiel. Clav has nothing to do with Peter Thiel. The fact that you think, one, that that's real, two, that if it were, that would be comparable, just goes to show you're a fucking idiot. And, if you can't understand what he's trying to do, you say you're against alcohol and drugs, but I have a lot of friends that do drugs and alcohol. I don't approve of it. Holy fucking idiot. That's just, like, low IQ. That's just so, like, talk about not understanding nuance.
Hey, how can I help?
Yeah, I know a lot of people that drink and do drugs. I know a lot of people that fuck around. I don't approve of that. I don't do it. Just because I'm against that doesn't mean I can't believe in somebody that drinks alcohol. Fucking stupid. And he's not on meth. I believe he's on basically. He's on the amphetamines. It's not really the same thing. He says it's not like he's smoking meth crystals. I don't believe that's what it is. It's totally different. But you people are just fucking stupid. He's literally on meth! Okay, fell for the rage bait. Holy fucking boo. Yeah, you're too stupid to watch my show.
DX Bro Viper 00 sent $20. Intro doesn't hit the same without Mr. Rage Playboy Party and Triple Red Orchestra Heat. What the fuck?
Dude, I don't run the intro. Okay?
Joe D86 said $100. Keep the change.
Hey, thank you for the big super chat. I appreciate it.
The guy sent $20. Round themselves elevated in the sand. Roman bananas.
Okay.
Rover in the swamp sent $20. Was Fishback catching pythons in the Everglades run?
It was.
Legal sent $50. Any recommendations for providers that mix music and are available for hire?
No.
Bobby Christian Rex sent $20. I blame self-serving useful boys more than subversive Jews. Boys allow Jew snakes to get their foothold in our once beautiful Christian European supermajority country.
Okay.
Yeti 4130 sent $20. Do you like Wendy's?
No.
Dr. Richard Wood said $20. Facts. 1. Zero benefit to mom or baby from routine
Okay,
ultrasound. 2.
I don't care. Stop. Like, I don't care about
Broken Brooks
this.
sent $50. I tuned into the Sneeko gaming stream. Like an hour in when you brought up Mark, and they told me. I closed the stream immediately. They really didn't want to raid.
Is that what happened? I don't think that's what happened.
Benji sent $20. Tucker Carlson style, tone, and cadence speaking son or Candace Owens mispronunciation daughter. And Effie sent $20. Who you got in a debate between Whitney Webb and Glenn Greenwald? Do they hate each other?
Ask them. I don't know. They're all writing essays in it. Glenn Greenwald wrote a response to Whitney Webb. It's like 100 pages long. I'm not even following that.
Pierce Uncensored sent $20. The more these boomers bitch about Clav and try to psychoanalyze him, calling him autistic, gay, feminine, insecure, etc., the more they are validating Lookism and his entire ethos. The only reason any of them are talking about him is because he ascended and they can handle the fact that the world really is that shallow.
Yep, 100%.
Redblood 1738 sent $20. Forget my naivety. You spoke about Wall Street Journal being owned by the Murdochs. They are Jewish. They seem to own right-leaning media outlets. Does that mean conservative media is not controlled by the Jews?
Go watch another show. Honestly, watch another show. Forgive not naivete, forgive your ignorance. Do a cursory search about Rupert Murdoch. Find anything about Rupert Murdoch, and then get back to me.
He does not know what acceleration is. It really is sent $20. My smart niggas look into changing laws to make ballot access for third-party easy. Also dedicate her career to reforming elections and to ranked choice voting for the America First Party.
Oh, my
Time reform,
God.
I've said $25. First time super chatter, but I've been watching the show for around 6 years now. Not gonna let Heimlich get sad when watching the edits of Trump at the start of the show. What could have been? Anyway, thanks for all you do.
That's great.
Machinist Roy sent $20. First time super chatter, but I've been watching since 2024. I saw that the Chicago magazine ranked you as the 7th most powerful person in the city.
Thank you.
Aaron sent $20. There's no news. Nothing is happening. Big show. Rames Ego sent $20. Since the Tucker explodes, AF averages 1.1 mil views / episode. According to Nielsen, a Cubs game on average reaches 150K views. Bulls 40K, Sox 30K. AF over 4X is popular. You should be higher than 7.
Well, then, that just goes to show how unpopular sports are. I didn't know there was that few people that watch
Will
it.
Smith sent $25.
So
Jen,
few.
you've gone so far right. You've turned left. You're pro Gavin Newsom. Yesterday.
Yeah, okay. Anyway.
Kelly Hardy sent $112 for security.
Hey, thank you for the big super chat. Into the security fund to go.
Two pieces sent $20. The Columbus Statue of Philly is still standing because hundreds of mob guerrillas showed up to fight off Antifa. Sadly, the right doesn't have the stomach for violence, which is why the left will win.
Oh my. Okay, worst super chats ever.
Will Smith sent $20. Nick, I've heard shit on Trump repeatedly for extending and lowering the tax cuts. How in the fuck is the agenda for your Dream America First candidate to be to raise taxes on businesses and people? That sounds fucking. Snowcone Grover sent $20. Snowcone Grover sent $20. Sierra's take on dogs was mind-boggling, and that conversation spiraled to you saying Pakistanis eat mud and sleep with rats on his diet. Smiley face emoji.
Yeah, that was
Ryan
crazy.
Sussy sent $25. 1/3 Muslim Grover here. I agree with you on Islamophobia 15. It's an ADL-approved knee-jerk reaction. Muslims screech over anything and Jews love it. Finds comments about Muslims isn't because fear or ignorance of Islam. It's calculated to create retarded combos that lead to white boy hating Muslims win.
Yeah.
Reaper Chop sent $20. Need to get Flav in a room with Richard Spencer. RFH has been fattening him up. Wag Fuzzy sent $25. 2/3 unfortunately.
No, we're not doing 3 more of these. Thank you, though. I appreciate
Francis White Wright sent $20. How long until this all wraps up so T-Limco can focus on China? Maybe limit yourself to 1 nose touch per minute for lead. Mr. Dissident sent $20. It's in retrograde night renegade.
it. Dude, what are the super chats tonight? That's actually crazy. Okay, bro.
Roy Grandma sent $20. Agreed that I would bring out your eyes. God bless you, dear.
Hey, thank you for the advice. Maybe I'll try.
Downward Thug Shaper Enjoyer sent $20. Do Fortnite, no build, it's easier. Big Royer sent $30. In the $100 group chat, can someone personally ask you a question, or is it 100 reporters trying to ask Flav a question? Bradford 911 sent $20. Why can't we just drop bombs like Hiroshima? After all, we dropped bombs on Hiroshima. 1 and done. 7-year war avoided, and the troops are home in time for dinner. Spike the Fox sent $20. I thought you were giving him chocolate for Lent. Shavery sent $20. Nick, I know you don't watch sports, but this one's for all my boys in the chat. Fuck Canada, USA, 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 get fucking plowed in your own sport leaf. Day of the rake. Nick's Ukrainian slut sent $20. Trump said he'd fight corruption and invites Albania's Prime Minister Edi Rama at the board of peace, even though he's known as one of the most corrupt leaders in the Balkans. Nice display of fighting against it.
Who gives a fuck about that?
Francesco sent $100. Sup, yo? Need a favor. Can you wish a happy birthday to my dearest Roy friend M? Only real nigga will jump in the car with me for a weekend. And road trip to Bradavio to see the two of Big Mussolini and then the Berghoven in Brooklyn. Same day. 0 notice. Yeah, sure. Only the realest nigga would. Trudeau. Extra checks.
Okay, get a room, dude. Get a fucking room. What is this? You writing a love letter to your best friend in my super chats? What the fuck is even that? Who is this friend? Is this like a gay proposal for a gay wedding? My dearest friend, only real nigga who would do that, blah, blah, blah. Dude, text message. Just send him a text message. Better yet, don't say any of that. What in the... Yeah, thank you for the big super chat. Happy birthday to your friend. Get a fucking room. Holy... What are these super... What happened, man? These are terrible. It's not in Renegade, it's in Retrograde. It's a joke. Why should we support high taxes? They cut the tax rate on the corporations, not on incomes, dumbass. Then the guy with the fucking ultrasound thing again, as always. And then some Slavic person crying about Albania. I guess, bro. Who cares? Man, it's just endless pain.
Geek Roll 9% $25. Why do I deny that even though it's certain? My obsession with death is growing immensely and feel paralyzed so much I can't see it impressively.
Shut up.
Cake Chun sent $20. You're underestimating Candace's persistence. Charlie came to her from 2037 in a vision showing her the destiny of their beautiful marriage. This is her destiny. Your pointers will be detrimental.
Okay, not
Cut
funny.
25 cents.
Thanks.
Did you see that Prince Henry got picked up today? Do you think anything will come of this? Email
No.
information released by the UK.
Yeah. They're about to release all the extra files. Yeah, thank you for the big super chat for sure. No, that's a nothing. Nothing ever happens.
First super chat. Union Electrician, California here. Love the show and wanted to get a message in before you inevitably decide to stop torturing yourself. Thanks for all the laughs and good information. It makes my commute a lot more bearable. God bless.
Thank you. Glad to hear it.
67 sent $25. Did you see it? Dornoach just sent $20. Trump is going to start alien/UFO disclosure. I've wished for this since I was a kid. They have to reel. People saying it's a distraction for Epstein and Iran would come on. Both can be true, right?
That can't be real. How old are you? surely it's not completely fake. Right? Yeah, you're right, bro. They're really about to release evidence of aliens that are
Kelly
totally
Hardy said
real.
$50. Just ignore her. She has lost control of her manufactured CK bullshit. She has done a lot of damage to a lot of innocent people, and now nobody is paying attention to her. She has now swung back around to you. Do not engage. Let her damage someone else. You are going places and she does it.
You think? Interesting take.
Orange just said $20. Aliens have to be real. I can't decide if I think they are physical beings or in third dimensional angels/demons.
Okay.
What if aliens come down are like, have you heard of our Savior Jesus Christ?
I killed myself. I think they're demons. You've never heard this before. Oh, the aliens are actually demons? Thanks, I never heard that before.
CZ said $50.
Amazing.
First time super chatter and admitted every short listener since his real/ran one. Before did I say I listened to Dim Fool the most?
Damn it, bro.
Fine. Thank you. Anyway, bit wrecking shop on Fortnite since December. In the level 257 diamond tier 3. Let's smack niggas like it's the 1700s. Username is Roy Iberman.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. Thank you, though. I do
Trevor
appreciate
B25
it.
said $20. Trump's
I meant more like a streamer.
Trevor B25 said $20. Trump's gonna drag us into war with Iran, but has time to address the Obama claims about aliens and post about it on DS, releasing more files about it. Trump's just a 3-star chef of goy slop. It's Ye said $33. And before you make fun of this question, but you say you shouldn't be president a lot, but who is actually a good candidate? If you had ultimate power to appoint a president, who do you pick? Rich Wayne HS Bro Chad Bronco going hard as fuck said $20. Hey Nick, did you see they are replacing the statue of Columbus in Little Italy with some woman to better represent the diversity of the city and to atone for the nigga Floyd? My Italian dad is living. Sad to see Italians capitulate to the cancel culture like this. The woman isn't Italian, but still, totally fucked up.
That's
Lose
crazy.
0 said $50. Pocket Square Fund.
Nope.
Rich White HS Bro Chad Bronco going hard as fuck said $20. In related news, Chicago just decided to codify the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's IHRA working definition of anti-Semitism into municipal law. They cite that anti-Semitism is up 58% in the city. Lamau, my village is probably 90% of that. The young white guys are totally aware of the Jews, even in our school.
Based. Oh, it's the high schoolers. Okay, based? W's in the chat? Okay, the Zoomers are going to be alright. Rich white high school bro chat. Bronco going hard as fuck. Okay. Here's the thing. I feel good about where we are because even if something horrible happened to me, God forbid, Gen Alpha's going to be alright. We got white ass niggas running wild in high school. Niggas are in high school being like, me and my friends account for all the anti-Semitism in Chicago. We don't hate anybody. Love speech, right? But that's based. W's in the chat. I was going to ridicule you, but that's based.
Amen to brother Nick /Rob you and how we should live our personal freedom of religion. Amen again, brother.
Thanks.
Charlie Adore said $50. Candace crawls back at your red Lexus change is a big, long intrusion or a hard one and done. Just put a little louder with her, bro. It's okay, we forgive you. Lava Bunch said $20. Nick, have you ever tried empanadas in Riverside? It's pretty good. A bit expensive, but that shouldn't be an issue for you.
I don't really do empanadas, you know. Stop talking to me about where I live, asshole. Like we're friends. Have you ever tried that empanadas in Riverside? Shut the fuck up. I don't know you like that. And no, I haven't. That's not dinner to me. Dinner, you need a little something more for dinner. Also, I don't really love the flavors. I don't know. I've had empanadas a million times. They're all right. I don't know. I prefer Mexican food. I prefer Mexican. If I'm going to get down with some
Next you, motherfucker.
Latin cuisine, I'm going tacos. I'm going chorizo for breakfast. That's what I'm doing. Pozole on the weekends. Torta. But I'm doing that. I'm not doing empanadas. That's me. Empanadas are what? Argentinian? Yeah, I don't even really like the Caribbean. The Caribbean stuff is okay. I really just like the Mexican food, honestly.
King Wizard said $20. You could not be more right about my Moscow. I actually lived in Moscow, Idaho, where he and his Christ church started buying up the town. They had way too much influence. Definitely on financial behavior, and it's racist to come out against him as he's risen past his small town.
Very sus. Very sussy.
Trengus said $20. You say news chicks think you may be interested. 4 hours slave next their disposition is officially out everywhere. Epstein allegedly advised Scoop Jeff Bezos on some financial decisions. God bless.
Yeah, I didn't watch it too long.
Prime Adams said $30.
Boring.
When are you going to talk about the Warner Brother deal? And I've been reading the Bible and wrestling with going to a Catholic church or not. I'm confused about the rosary because it wasn't taught by the apostles, but I like that the Catholic Church has deep roots. But for now, I'm just reading it. I'll let the Lord guide me.
Okay, good for you.
Bloodred One said $20. What do you dip on a DoorDash order? Remember the sound.
Don't worry, what? It's not really any of your business.
Steve King 007 said $25. Candace was astral projecting and realized Nick is based AF. Keep enlightening the masses.
That's true. Maybe she was astral projecting and she saw, that I'm the really cool guy.
Cheryl writes here at Fine said $20. I was raised Jewish. Never had a bar mitzvah. Been converted to Catholicism 6 years ago. Considered Episcopalian for a while.
Good.
Happy
Love
with
to
my
hear
path.
it. W.
Chicago's realest nigga 1738 sent $20. 10 years from now, I'll be Chicago's most powerful person. You will know my name, nigga. Any counter signaling against me will cost you. I will own you, Nick.
Hey, stop.
Lick and Thick sent $20. Why do black people take offense when you call them a nigga? You're calling them what they are. If they take offense to it, that means their race is naturally offensive to society.
Okay.
Linda sent $20. You are simply the best. We are here cheering for you always.
Thank you. W. Linda. Is that the Linda? Is that the Linda? If so, what's going on, Linda? Good to hear from you. We love you, W. Linda. I'm not sure. There's a few
Andrew P. Rose from Ohio sent $20. The sea of NJF America first hats in the crowd at the Amy Dangerfield of James Fishback event earlier this evening was
Yeah, that was
awesome.
awesome.
Salute.
More hats.
Sent $20.
More hats.
Christ is king.
You can wear them.
Alex Pacheco sent $22. Even with no news to cover, you could do a show about anything and people would still watch because you're funny.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, hon. Thank you.
DeKalb Roy
I
sent
appreciate
$20. Salutations, fellow nigger. Candace definitely wants you back after seeing you play Fortnite because she wants to be your carry. Get it because she's black and niggers have lots of experience shooting people. Elizabeth Trial Griffith sent $20. Our homegirl quote tweets you when you're truly locked in and your monologue is unapologetically individualistic, intellectually superior, politically advanced, structured and organized, you crazy little bitch.
Stop. Don't stop. Don't call me that. Oh my gosh. Goodness gracious.
Hey, if you were having problems getting 2 hours of content, just think announce vacation and Trump would go into Iran. All of that standing between Iran and total annihilation is one announcement. Anderson sent $20. Tyrone Owens Fuentes.
Tyrone Owens Fuentes. That's very good. Owens Fuentes will be our children, yeah. She'll never take my name. Yeah, could you imagine my son is George Floyd? That would be crazy.
Diddy Sprinkles sent $100. You ever been to a titty bar?
Yeah.
Smiley face emoji. Smiley face emoji.
It's like old clan thing. I ever been to a titty bar? It's like, dude.
CC Red 9.
And I'm talking to a Klansman. I'm like, you are a race tracer.
CC Red 95 sent $105. AF is the only show on the internet that is always consistently actually good content. I
Hey.
appreciate you, dog. Don't be a show, don't be a nigga.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for the big super chat. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate all your help, too.
Huckleberry 999 sent $20. Happy FF. Did you by chance see Lex Wexner's attorney threatening to kill him if he gives more than a 5-word answer as he was testifying today?
I did. That was
Lawrence
crazy.
sent $25. You keep calling Albanians Slav monkeys. Although Kosovo was once part of Yugoslavia, ethnicity and state borders aren't the same. Albanians are native to Southeastern Europe, predating 7th century Slavic migrations. The Albanian language is its own Indo-European branch, entirely distinct from Slavic languages.
That's just cope. All these different Slavic people have some cope. They all believe that they were like the first Europeans. Albanians, Serbians, Kosovar, Bosniak. They all think that they were like the original Europeans. Like it's like the out of Africa theory. We was all Albanians at one point. Like, shut the fuck up. You are a Slav. You're a Muslim Slav.
Ronald sent $20. Do you believe that the Ayatollah will still be in power by the end of this month? Also, after this war is supposed to limit strikes, do you think Cuba or Nicaragua are next?
What are you trying to polymarket
Alexa
this?
sent $20. I don't want to start doing a show like you, but I feel like it'd be cringe to be a copycat, but I'm 24 and want to get out of the rat race.
No. No. You want to do this to get out of the rat race? No, never gonna happen, loser. The only way you do this is if you believe in it, not because you want to make a little bit of money because you don't want to have a job, loser. I just want to get out of the rat race. Can I do what you do and make a couple bucks?
Average
No,
John 93 cent $100. Have a good night, everyone. Keep true to yourselves. Don't be lazy. Learn something new every day.
So true. Lifelong learner. Thank you for the big super chat.
Yeah, sent
Appreciate it.
$100. More shekels for the good little boy. Paying my dues. Love the show.
That's me. Thanks a lot. Appreciate the big super chat. Good
Someone
as
sent
boy.
$100. Candace is just playing it cool. Her pride won't let her be too vulnerable. But that repost was her low-key way of checking for you because try as she might, she can't quit you.
She just can't quit me, dude. She just, come on. Come on. What are we doing? You know, we're going to look back on this and we're going to laugh. You're right about that. Just a little taste.
Sent $50. Recent unredacted Epstein names are just scapegoats. Boys go first. Very $9.99.
Another
$20.
conspiracy.
You can clearly see the difference in entropy super chats and the Rumble super chats. Do you get the entropy chats first? I'm just assuming they're not mixed in at this point. Great show.
They are mixed in, actually. They're totally mixed in. They're chronological, dumbass.
Francesco sent $100. Oof. Grimacing face emoji. Embarrassed smiley face emoji.
Sorry, I just reacted like I would if it was anybody else. But thank you for the big super chat. Hope your love letter to your boyfriend is received well. And he loves it. That's like, dude, that's like proposal type shit. That's like sending in $100 and being like, Katie, will you marry me? Honey, will you make me the happiest man? Like, that would be gay if you did that to your wife. You did that to your best friend. That would be corny as fuck if you did that as a proposal. You said that to your buddy for his birthday.
This is just a happy birthday to my best friend, the only realist nigga who just said yeah when we went on our road trip. Like, yeah, holy chalant. That's okay, though. Thank you for the big super chat. All right, that's all I got for you. That's my last super chat. Oh, I think we got one more. Oh.
Luke Smith 0602 sent $20. Boo.
Okay, thanks. Okay, that's your last super chat. Remember to smash the follow button, smash the like button, leave a comment. I'm on the air Monday through Friday. Thank you to our top super chatters. Special thank you to Titty Sprinkles, Francesco, Kelly, CC Red, Bing, Colt, Crux Divinity, Joe, Cutman, Average John, Bobby, and Sweltez. Thank you to all of them. Thanks to all of our super chatters, everybody that watches the show. We love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your evening.
It's going to